situations the best way we can possibly handle them. Mental health really is about how you're doing socially, emotionally, psychologically, all those factors that impact your life and the ways you can function in your life.
This event is the result of months of planning in our service area. It's meant to heighten mental health awareness about resources in the community, destigmatize mental health issues and concerns, and basically bring out to our
Los Angeles Public Library's Palms Rancho Park branch. Breathe, stretch, and reset at Community Yoga on Friday, June 12th at 10 a.m. This fun, all-levels class includes mats and blocks provided for participants. Space is limited, so RSVP is encouraged. Join Community Yoga Friday, June 12th at 10 a.m. For details, visit lapl.org. For Father's Day, give Dad a sunset sail to remember. On Saturday, June 13th, cruise through San Pedro Harbor aboard a historic tall ship and take in the ocean views. Relax on deck or join the crew and help raise the sails. Pack a picnic, bring some snacks and drinks, and enjoy a memorable evening on the water. Join the Father's Day Sunset Sail Saturday, June 13th from 3:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. For details, visit culture.lacity.gov/events. The Los Angeles Public Library Central Library is hosting the 4th Annual June Jubilee, a celebration of Black excellence. Join the fun on Saturday, June 13th at 9:30 a.m. for a day celebrating African American culture, community, and creativity. Enjoy health and wellness activities, arts and crafts, technology, genealogy, and more. This free event is open to all. For details, go to lapl.org/events. LA Pride 2026 is coming. The 56th annual LA Pride Parade kicks off Sunday, June 14th in Hollywood. Raise the rainbow and hit Hollywood Boulevard for a colorful celebration featuring more than 140 bands, dancers, floats, and celebrities. Grab a bite, shop Pride merch, and check out local food trucks and vendors at the LA Pride Village. There's activities, games, and music, all celebrating community, individuality, and pride. Find more information, visit lapride.org. And that's your LA Things to Do.
doing so will allow more of your fellow Angelinos to speak. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Councilmember Harris Dawson. Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Councilmember Rahman.
Here.
Councilmember Yaroslavsky is not here, and Councilmember Soto Martinez is not here. With 3 members present, we have a quorum.
All right, Madam Clerk, that'll take us to our agenda for today's meeting. Will you please read the agenda item we'll be deliberating on today into the record?
And just for clarification, you want me to read all 24
Just
items?
the,
or
just
just
the,
the first
just
one?
the main one.
Item number 1 is a Chief Legislative Analyst report and a Charter Reform Commission report relative to recommendations for amendments to the city charter in accordance with ordinance number 188303.
All right, members, the purpose of today's meeting is to begin to bring us to a close of this process in Rules Committee, which follows a process in a Citizens Charter Commission, which followed a process in an ad hoc Council Commission on Charter Reform. Our hope is today we will move a number of items from this committee to the full council for consideration for a ballot initiative. This discussion we have today is the result of countless hours spent by charter commissioners, council members, city staff, department heads, members of the public, and members of various interest groups. My goal is to move something today that we may not finish today, and we may have to continue on Monday. We have a placeholder meeting on Monday. But between today and Monday, we will move items to the full council, and those items will either receive a positive support from the council and move to a ballot initiative to be in front of voters in November, or there are a number of category of things that we expect to move to further discussion. After this process is complete and we're done in the council, as the president of the council, I will stand up a ad hoc committee on charter reform to deal with the remaining items that need more research or we need to know about the financing or other or logistics of some of the items that are before us. And that committee will meet from August of 2026 to June of 2027, and it will give the council between August and December of 2027 to prepare additional items for a possible ballot initiative on the 2028 regularly scheduled election. And so we'll continue to work with the CLA and the CAO as they have done thus far to make sure we exhaust discussion, research, and deliberation on all the items that are before us. And so before we begin, I want to open it up to members of this committee if they've got any opening comments about this process. We're also joined by 2 members of the council as well. So Mr. Lee, have you got anything?
Just appreciation to the commission for the hard work in putting this together. Obviously, charter is something that governs the way we do business here in the city of Los Angeles. It's an important process, and I just appreciate being a part of the conversation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lee. Councilmember Rahman.
Thank you so much, Council President. And I did want to thank you. I want to thank all my colleagues on this committee. I also want to thank the commission members and the CLA and the CAO for all their hard work, as well as all the departments who engaged with us. I did, I think we will move some much needed changes forward through this effort, and I'm grateful to everyone who showed up, engaged, all of the work that was done to solidify some of these recommendations. But I also did want to say that there were a number of substantive recommendations that have still been recommended for deferral for further study as part of the CLA's recommendations, including a couple that actually generated this whole process in the first place. Things like council expansion that was studied during the ad hoc committee on governance reform, which produced the independent redistricting process, which is now the law of the land, thanks to every voter who stood up and said yes. And now we potentially are on the verge, depending on what happens today and in full council, of deferring that decision yet again. And there are a number of substantive issues on which a deferral was recommended as part of this process. And I did want to say that having been on the council during the time that the tapes leaked, having seen the push for change that was there at that moment, the number of people who showed up in council chambers, the number of people who wrote and deliberated in public forums about the need for real governance reform that would bring us to a place where we had greater trust in the government. I am, despite how much work has gone into this process and despite my gratitude for everyone that's involved, I am a little disappointed that we may be punting big questions again to a future charter reform process. I just, I really wanted to underscore that there is a great deal of mistrust in LA City government right now. And I am committed to, through this process and through every opportunity that I have, and in partnership with all of my colleagues who I know care about this as well, to pushing forward on changes that will restore that trust. And thank you to everyone who's here, and thank you to everyone who's engaged.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Rahman and Lee. We've got a couple members of the council with us today. I'll ask if the two of them will join us at the center table. And Councilmembers Hernandez and McCosker. We're also joined by Councilmember Yaroslavsky. And we'll defer her opening comments until we hear from McCosker and Hernandez. Give her enough time to get her screensaver off her laptop. But you all have been kind enough to join us for submit comments to this process before we deliberate. Sort of our last set of deliberations before going to full council. I'll begin with you, Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Harris-Dawson and members of the Rules Committee. I'm here today to urge this committee to move police accountability reforms to the November 2026 ballot so that the people of Los Angeles can decide how they want LAPD to be governed. Almost a year ago today, ICE raids and fear took hold of our city. Families were afraid to go to work, take their children to school, or even be out in public. Committee members took to the streets to defend their neighbors and exercise their constitutional rights. And over the last year, their trust in government and the institutions meant to protect them has been put to the test. They have witnessed journalists and protesters brutalized while exercising their First Amendment rights. They're seeing how communities already threatened by federal overreach are left wondering who is protecting them from further harm. Are the sanctuary city laws being violated? That is exactly why these reforms matter. People need to know who is accountable for what and that no institution is above oversight. This is especially important now as our communities are living through an authoritarian assault on their rights. Oversight requires more than good intentions. It requires transparency. As elected representatives, we routinely ask LAPD for data, report backs, and basic information so that we can understand what is happening in our communities and evaluate whether their policies are working as intended. Too often, this information is delayed, incomplete, or never arrives. We should all be concerned about that. Because if elected representatives cannot get their answers, then true oversight is impossible. And as you all know as well as I do that these reforms are not egregious or radical. One reform says the chief of police should be able to fire officers who have a repeated history of misconduct. Seems basic. The other says LAPD should have to follow laws passed by the elected representatives of the people of Los Angeles. Another basic. Most people assume that that is already the case in this city. And frankly, it's hard to explain to them, and it's hard to explain to constituents why that isn't the case. No other city department is exempt from laws passed by city council. No other department head is prevented from firing employees who repeatedly violate public trust. Yet somehow the department with the authority to stop, detain, arrest, and use force operates under a different set of rules. But with great power comes great responsibility, and it should come with great accountability. And to be clear, these reforms aren't suggesting that council should direct what split-second decisions should be made during an emergency. That is not our job. But it is absolutely our job to set policy. The people of Los Angeles elect us to make those decisions, and when those decisions are made through the democratic process, they should apply to LAPD just as they apply to every other city department. And for my colleagues who are still unsure about these reforms, I ask, if not now, then when? Our constituents have asked for greater police accountability for years. They have shown up to council chambers, police commission meetings, and committee forums. They've demanded change after scandals, use of force, and violations of public trust. They have organized, testified, marched, and made their voices heard. We owe them more than just another study, please. We owe them more than another delay. At the very least, we owe them a vote. I urge this committee to move those reforms forward and let the people vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Hernandez. Representing the 1-5, Councilmember McCosker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Mr. President, and members. Thanks very much for having me here. I didn't come to speak to Councilmember Hernandez's comments, but I will say that there is a lot of reasonable argument that she makes. In fact, if we back up, and I know that you've done more research than I have in this area, if we back up and think about how we got to the police commission and the police department and its function, it really is born out of the Christopher Commission, where the Christopher Commission was very clear that it wanted to take the council out of the politics of how the department was run. I don't think that the Christopher Commission implied or said it wanted to take the city council out of setting broad public policy for each and every department of the city. And so I would encourage you to heed those comments well. I mean, there are certain things very clearly, there's certain things that city council should not be involved in: hiring, firing of officers, reviewing incidents, incident command, staffing DPOs. But that doesn't mean that the Christopher Commission and everything all of its progeny has said that the city council does not set broad public policy. We do. But that's not what I came to speak about. But I do appreciate the opportunity to comment. First of all, I want to share some of the comments that you made at the outset, especially Councilmember Rahman. This is a significant and important debate that we have today, and I don't think that we have the full set of questions in front of us. And I too have expressed and will continue to express disappointment with the range of things that we have here. Although I do appreciate what looks like the movement that we will have a more comprehensive review as we move forward. I say that as someone who served on a Charter Revision Commission 25 years ago. And we spent that commission, I didn't sit on the commission the whole time because I wound up going into the city attorney's office and wound up being a lawyer for the commission, one of the many lawyers for the commission. But that was a 2-year process and a comprehensive review. And I think that we need to be not only more comprehensive about charter reform, but we also need to make sure we are addressing the very crisis that brought us to this moment. Then, 25 years ago, it was the crisis of different parts of the city feeling that they were disconnected from the city of Los Angeles, and we wanted to make sure, we collectively as a people wanted to make sure people were more connected, and the driving force was the secession movements, and it wound up becoming the neighborhood council movement, among many, many other things. And I think Councilman Rahman is correct that this is being driven by a different crisis, and the fact that we're not addressing at this moment today, or very likely today, not addressing those issues means that we have more work to do, which doesn't mean that we shouldn't consider some of the important things you have in front of you. I want to say that I am fully supportive of CRC 1, which is the Director of Public Works, but I do want to say that separating that question, which we should move forward, from Council File 26065, removing the full-time duties of the commissioners, would only be a half measure. I'm going to urge you to also place on the same ballot the question of removing that language for the full-time duties of the Public Works Commission, because that full-time duty is the argument for why we, the Public Works Commission, run the department. And it's really contrary and in conflict with having a Director of Public Works. And so I'm going to urge you to do that. It sounds like a small matter, but it enables us to continue to implement this more cohesive, more focused representation of our constituents on public services and public works and public infrastructure, which also goes along with the 2-year budgeting cycle, which I'm also supportive of. I support and appreciate all the procurement initiatives that are being put forward. We can do more, but what you have put forward is strong and acceptable. But I want to speak to 2 particular things. Neither one of them has been recommended by the CLA for going to the ballot, but I want to urge you to put them on the ballot. One is what's going to be referred to as the PAIP. They're both port-related, by the way. One is the PAIP, the Public Access Investment Program, and it is the subject of Council Motion 25-0118. And you have really 2 things in front of you. You have the council file, and we also had a subsequent analysis that came to this committee. And essentially, the infrastructure fund is an existing program in the city of Los Angeles where the commission at the port for the last 10 years and more, actually, a couple years past the first 10-year cycle, have been setting aside, dedicating 10% of their operating funds to investment in public infrastructure and public access. And it is a program that is born from this basic scenario. The port lands for the state of California belong to the people of the state of California. The city of Los Angeles is really just a trustee. The Port Commission is a trustee making sure that those port lands work for both industry and for the people of the state of California. And so this public access infrastructure and investment fund has been a matter of administrative approval, and it can go away at any time. And in fact, it potentially was going to go away about 3 years ago, and it did not. It's been readopted as an administrative function. We need this to be carried forward in our charter because it goes with the rest of the construct that we are really just trustees. We're trustees for the people of the state of California. It's going to be important for us to make sure this is not subject to the vagaries of one administration or the next administration. It is also a great protection for the port, frankly, and for the industry, because we're only talking about 10% of the operating funds. And it is something that in some years we could demand more. And I think that this is a good, safe middle ground for both the industry, obviously for the workers, and for the communities in the surrounding port areas, but also for the entire state of California to make sure that we are not giving away to commerce these lands without having the people have access. The next one is been referred to as the leasing policy and the jobs protection policy. And I think it's been the subject of a little bit of debate, and I think also a little bit of false information. What we do now at the Port of Los Angeles is that every application that comes in for a project, if you want to develop a piece of property, you want to modify your property, you want to get a coastal permit, you fill out an application, and in that application one is asked now, what are the job implications? And there are instances, there have been recent really infamous instances where you have companies saying, we don't know what the implications are on jobs, and the commission and this city council have been put in a position where they can't get behind that. They can't sort of question it and try to find out, well, what are the number of jobs that we have today at this terminal? What are the number of jobs during construction? Those are important jobs. And what are going to be the number of jobs afterwards? And because we have been put in a position sometimes where the legislators or where the permitters have not been able to get behind those questions, we come to a complete stall. And the fight is really over automation and what automation does to the local economy. And what we're saying with this language is, and the language, you have the language in your packets, we're saying with this language is that there will be an analysis that will be similar to like a type of an EIR analysis where you will have expressly laid out, and it will be part of the discussion, what are the number of jobs before, what are the number of jobs during the construction, and what are the jobs afterwards. It is not saying that the project is going to be approved or disapproved based on the jobs. It is saying that, again, this is public land, this is owned by the public, and we are just trustees. And what we are saying is that this land has to work for the industry, it has to work for the labor, and it has to work for the local community. And I will propose to you that despite what we've heard from some business groups, that this is not just a protection of workers. In fact, this is more greatly a protection of local business, of regional business. 1 in 9 jobs in LA County come out of the Port of Los Angeles. And those 1 in 9 jobs, those tens and tens of thousands of jobs, support eateries, they support local schools, they support sports programs. The folks that are working, the women and men working on the docks are getting their kids' teeth straightened, at our local dentists. I mean, this is such an important part of our local economy, and there is no reason for us not to say, there's every reason in the world for us to say that what we're going to do is we're going to ensure that every one of our legislative and our quasi-legislative decisions at the Port of Los Angeles are going to work not just for the industry, not just for labor, but they're going to work for our regional economy. And does this become an automation question? Yes, it does become an automation question. Does it prevent us from approving automation projects? No, it doesn't. But it puts us in a position of knowing how we are being stewards for our constituents, for the local economy, and how we are making decisions as we lease and permit properties in and around the port. So I'm going to urge you to move this one forward to the voters. I'll probably have a couple of others, but I want to come back to the head of this conversation and say that it would make sense for us to put something in front of the voters, whether it's in this round or the next round, that says we're going to have a periodic review of our charter. And I think a 10-year review on a cycle where we have the information from the most recent census makes a lot of sense as well. So I'm going to thank you very much for all of your work, and I'm going to urge you to move the 2 port matters forward to the full council and then to the voters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council Members Hernandez and McCosker. And now I'll yield the floor to Councilmember Yaroslavsky.
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank the CLA, City Attorney, Charter Reform Commission, and the hundreds of members of the public who've been engaged and stayed engaged through this entire process. I also want to thank you, Council President, for giving me the chance to be part of this in this way. I really appreciate it. Charter reform is technical, slow work, but it couldn't be more important. The charter is the foundation of how LA governs itself, and I want to start by repeating the principle I've raised throughout these meetings. I told you I was going to be a broken record. I don't intend to disappoint now. We need to be clear about what belongs in the charter and what belongs in the admin code. The charter should establish the foundation, the roles, the checks and balances, the core protections, and the basic structure of government. It shouldn't be used as a way to lock Los Angeles into operational details that are outdated, unclear, or too rigid to manage over time. And that's why I'm glad to see some recommendations in this report moving in the right direction, including the removal of Section 104G. I think we can and should go further. The question should be simple. Does this need to be in the charter, or should the city manage it through code, ordinance, and policy? That's to say, us doing our jobs. That same principle should guide how we approach the larger structural questions before us, including council expansion, land use authority, elected offices, ethics, and police oversight, the things that should be in the charter and deserve very thoughtful, well-informed decision-making because they are so foundational. So I think our job today is to decide what's ready for voters, what should move through the admin code, and what needs deeper work before we ask Angelenos to amend their city charter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Yaroslavsky. City Attorney, I'm going to ask that we read the instructions for public comment into the record, and before that's done, I want to reiterate what we did before the start of the meeting. We have in excess of 120 people who've signed up to speak. We are not going to take 2 hours and, well, 3 hours really of public comment today. We've taken hours and hours of public comment and gotten pages and pages of comment in writing. We're going to take 1 hour of public comment. Everybody has 2 minutes, so when your name is called, please get up quickly. If you can get it out in less than 2 minutes, that helps because we can take more people today. I just want to lead with, we are not going to get to everyone, but we're going to go for an hour. It is 35 minutes after 1 o'clock, so we will go to 2:45 for public comment for today's meeting. Mr. City Attorney.
And those are basically the instructions. The only thing I would add is if you have a community impact statement and you haven't delivered it, let us know. If you need Spanish translation, please pause every couple of sentences so we can translate, and we'll stop the clock for you. Otherwise, when your name's called, please move to your left, and the sergeants will let you down the aisle. Doesn't matter what order you speak in, but please don't get up and line up until your name is called. And we'll move through people as quickly as we can so we get through as many speakers as we can. So we're ready to start calling names.
I'd like to call up Georgina Manzano, Verga Blue, Kimietta Johnson, Darren Gold, Rob Kwan, Yuvia Aras, and Kim Son.
I do have a community impact statement from the Highland Park Neighborhood Council.
Okay, and you're the designated representative?
I am.
Okay, so we'll set the clock appropriately. This is not normal public comment. It's a community impact statement, so please begin.
Thank you. I am Darren Gold. Good afternoon. I'm the president and speaking on behalf of the Historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council regarding the proposed charter amendments under consideration for the November ballot. Of all the proposed amendments, the one the Historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council most strongly supports, placing before the voters is the proposal to double the charter protected funding allocation for recreation and parks. This is a citywide issue that affects every council district and every neighborhood. Parks are not a luxury, they are a basic city service. The proposal to double Rec and Parks charter funding should move forward and ultimately be considered by the voters of Los Angeles. The voters established charter funding protections for parks because they recognize these investments are too important to be left to the annual budget process or other ordinances. While the council has had the ability to increase funding, the effective level of charter protected funding has eroded over time. If Los Angeles is serious about investing in parks, that commitment belongs in the charter, not in the administrative code. We need world-class parks not only for the visitors, which we're all very obsessed with right now, but for the residents who use them every day. We also support placing before voters a proposal to expand the City Council from 15 to 25 members to provide more responsive representation and ensure communities have a stronger voice at City Hall. It has been said several times today that residents do not trust this government, and frankly, many do not. Expanding the council will not solve every problem, but bringing elected representatives closer to the communities they serve is an important step toward rebuilding public confidence and making local government more accessible and accountable. We support placing before voters dedicated funding for public works so that streets, sidewalks, trees, lighting, and other essential infrastructure receives consistent investment regardless of annual budget pressures. We also support placing ranked choice voting before the voters. The recent election cycle showed too many voters making strategic choices rather than simply voting for the candidate they most preferred. Ranked choice voting addresses that problem and has been successfully implemented in cities across the country. We support placing before voters ethics reforms that create an independent inspector general and strengthen transparency, accountability, and oversight in city government. We also support expanded authority for the controller to investigate fraud, waste, and abuse, and a requirement for periodic charter reviews. Finally, we strongly support placing before voters neighborhood council reforms, including expanded bonk representation, guaranteed funding, clear authority, and explicit authorization to communicate directly with county, state, federal, and regional agencies. Neighborhood issues do not stop at City Hall. They involve Metro, Los Angeles County, school districts, state agencies, and federal officials. Neighborhood councils should be explicitly empowered to advocate wherever decisions affecting their communities are being made. Many of the proposals before you today have already been studied, debated, refined, and discussed. We are concerned by the growing number of recommendations for a deferral or for a study. At some point, deferral for study becomes deferral of decision-making. These proposals are mature enough to be placed before the voters of Los Angeles and let the public decide. Thank you for your time, and thank you to all those who weren't listening.
Thank you very much. And when it's your turn, you can just start speaking. I should also have pointed out, if anybody made an ADA request or needs a handheld microphone, please let the sergeants know after your name is called. So the floor is yours. Please begin.
Good afternoon, members of the Rules Committee. I've spoken in front of you before on this topic that I will speak on again today. My name is Lluvia Arras, and I'm here on behalf of Ascot Hills Park in El Sereno and really every park in Los Angeles. I love this city. Parks are where I learned how to swim, where I got free lunches every summer, where I got my first job as a teen, where my kids learned to play every single sport, where I currently do yoga and where I hike. I'm here because I know it matters to show up. Even if my hands are shaking, even if not everybody is listening or looking at me or making eye contact, I know that everyone in this room loves this city and possibly has their own versions of the stories and the experiences that I've had at parks. Which is why it pains me that LA has fallen to from 49th to 90th in the nation for park funding. Communities, especially on the east side and the south side, have 80% less park space than wealthier neighborhoods. That is just not okay. It is my understanding that voters established charter minimums specifically to protect parks from being defunded, and yet every year since 2009, this council has eroded that minimum, and it's visible. You can see it when you drive through our city. An ordinance is a promise. A charter amendment is a guarantee. Our communities deserve guarantees. This is a citywide issue too important to be decided in a single committee. I urge the committee to please move the charter funding for parks measure to the full council. Let every member go on record and let the voters decide. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kimyetta Johnson, and I'm here, and I'm a member of LA Black Workers Center. We stand before you today because our work is stalled, not for lack of vision, not for lack of support, but because we cannot get to the table. The reforms before this body, modernizing hiring, building career pathways, ensuring equity and accountability, represent years of active advocacy from Black workers and communities across this city. These are not radical ideas. They are reasonable, lawful, and necessary. We are ready. The question is whether the city will act. We are asking this council to use your voice and your authority to move these recommendations forward and show your support for Black Angelenos. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Georgina Manzano.
Good afternoon, my name is Georgina Manzano.
Yo soy de Naturaleza para Todo y mi petición es que aumente el presupuesto de los parques, que es muy importante. No,
Perdón, señora, voy a traducir para usted, si puede pausar, por favor. I'm here from Naturaleza for All, and I'm here, my ask is for the, for the increased parks fund inversion.
Sí, presupuesto de los parques.
Interpreter error, investment.
Es muy importante.
It is very important.
Nos damos cuenta cuando llevamos a las personas al parque o en área recreativa.
We are very aware that when we go to a park or a recreation center,
el ambiente cambia totalmente porque vemos las caras de las personas, cómo están de contenta estando en un lugar recreativo, como estando en una ciudad que está todo pues lleno de pavimento y todo, pues el ambiente pues cambia totalmente.
And we see how people change once they go to a park or a recreation center where within a city where it's all concrete. So you can see how changing the environment changes them.
Por eso pido que mejoren los parques que hay y que haya más presupuesto para hacer más parques.
That's why I'm here asking for the improvement of parks and for the increase of the budget for the parks.
Es todo. Gracias.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before the next speaker begins, I'd like to call up a few more names. Derek Gailey, Beth O'Rourke, Charles Y., Joe Buscaino, and Sonia Young Jimenez.
Please begin.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm speaking in support of Council Motion 260638. My name is Kimberly Sun, and I'm here with Community Power Collective. My parents brought me into this country when I was young, and my entire life has been here. I study, I work, and I contribute to this city every day. I'm a DACA recipient, and like many others, I pay taxes, participate in my community, and help build the future of LA. That is why I believe we deserve a voice in the decisions that affect our lives. We deserve the opportunity to help choose our representatives, have a say in how public resources are invested, and contribute to building a stronger and more just communities. There are thousands of people like me in LA who love this city and contribute to it every single day. We want to be heard and we want to be included, and we want the opportunity to participate in our local democracy. I urge you to support Council Motion 260638. Thank you.
Rob Kwan, and I just want to thank and acknowledge Councilmember Rahman for speaking to the merry-go-round from hell we've been on for 4 to 6 years. Sad to see most of this stuff all getting punted away, but in particular, personnel reforms. This is just something that is unacceptable, and it appears intentional. I really do think you are dooming this city. Los Angeles is not ungovernable, but I can promise you it is the way it is, and that won't change with a new mayor. I really do hope whatever happens, you actually try to fix this city. Otherwise, a lot of rational people are going to be wondering, if you're not going to fix it, let's just break it up. The signature threshold for candidates getting on the ballot, I really do hope you look at lowering that for our district candidates at the least. This is an equity issue, and I remember what our council president spoke about, after we went through redistricting. And when we talk about equity and representation, why is it that somebody running for office in Councilmember Yaroslavsky's district has 75,000 more people to turn to than in CD9 or CD1? All this talk about change in CD9 and going half a century with a black representative there and that moving, there were no black candidates on the ballot. 2 tried to get on the ballot but weren't able to. Lastly, I do find it really weird that council size needs more study, but changes to council procedures, how many meetings you guys have, that doesn't need a report, that can move forward. It's curious that there's no report on changing the referendum threshold, something about direct democracy, and zero acknowledgement in that report that a referendum only has 30 days to gather signatures, whereas an initiative has 120 days.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. Joe Buscaino. I'm here this afternoon in strong support of our Councilmember McCosker's proposed charter reform on the Public Access Investment Plan at the Port of Los Angeles. I want to be clear about where I'm coming from. When I was representing the 1-5, I helped build this. Working alongside Port Director Gene Soroka and Commissioner Ed Renwick, we didn't just talk about the concept of community benefit. We sat down and figured out how to make it real how to make it durable, and how to make it fair. The port is one of the greatest public assets the city owns, but for too long, the communities in the harbor area, the families who live in the shadow of the cranes and the container ships, didn't see enough of that prosperity come back to them. This plan changes that. When port property generates revenue, the public deserves a real return on that investment. Waterfront access, recreational amenities, and infrastructure that serves the people who call that area home. I support this charter reform because we did the work to get it right. Putting it in the charter isn't a formality, it's a guarantee. It means that the next administration can't quietly walk it back. It means future port leadership inherits an obligation, not just a suggestion. The port's success can only be measured in cargo tonnage and trade volumes. Rather, it can't only be measured in cargo tonnage and trade volumes. It has to be measured in whether the people of LA, especially harbor area residents, can actually enjoy and access their waterfront. Gene, Ed, and I believe that when we crafted this, and I still believe it today. I urge your support of this charter reform item before you. Thank you, members.
Good afternoon. I'm here in support of the proposal to double the Department of Recreation and Parks charter allocation. I am in Westchester Park multiple times a week for tennis, mahjong, the senior center, the library, soccer practice, community meetings, and to walk in the park. Parks are critical to a healthy community in maintaining property values. Despite this, LA Parks and Recreation programs are woefully underfunded. I see Rec and Park staff working tirelessly under impossible conditions, dealing with spotty internet service, crumbling infrastructure, staff shortages, walking paths and parking lots that haven't been resurfaced in years, and so many more hazards that could result in city liability for injuries. I urge the City Council to put this proposal on the ballot for voters to show their support. We need healthy parks to keep Angelenos of all ages healthy and thriving. Let's vote in favor of a better quality of life for all Angelenos. Thank you.
Before the next speaker begins, I'd like to call up a few more names. Ron Bitzer, MTD Transport, Pedro Yalin, Nico Akim, and Anam Syed.
Thanks. I also have a community impact statement from the Los Feliz Neighborhood Council.
You're the designated representative to provide
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Derek Gailey, Los Feliz Neighborhood Council, District C representative, and chair of our Charter Reform Ad Hoc Committee. We adopted a community impact statement supporting the Charter Reform Commission's recommendation to increase the minimum charter allocation for recreation and parks. Our core request today is straightforward: preserve the 0.065% funding level, keep the commitment in the charter, keep the measure on track for the November 2026 ballot, use a responsible 4-year phase-in, and limit any pause to a true citywide fiscal emergency. And I want to emphasize that the charter is the right place for this baseline commitment. A charter floor gives RAP, communities, and voters something more durable than annual budget negotiations. It supports long-term planning for maintenance, staffing, programming, capital needs, and public access. An ordinance or annual budget approach sends a weaker signal because it leaves more for future discretion. And the annual process hasn't produced the stable parks baseline that Los Angeles needs. Parks funding is also a public investment with fiscal and economic returns. It helps us grow the budget pie. Parks support property values, tourism, visitor spending, neighborhood vitality, public health, climate resilience, and safety through maintenance and activation. From my perspective as a land use lawyer, I also see how private investment depends on visible public commitment. Developers, property owners, and investors look at whether a city is serious about its public realm. So when the voters approve this in the charter, they're going to be able to make investments in reliance on the city's investment. It also matters for housing. A growing city needs public space that can support more people well. In Los Feliz, we see this because of Griffith Park, which is a treasured regional asset, but we're clearly feeling the impacts of the deferred maintenance crisis. That's why this is urgent. When Los Angeles invests in its public spaces, it strengthens the whole city's civic and economic foundation. And we see the skepticism in the neighborhood council and my role working on a citizen assembly on the charter about how commitments survive the annual political process. So if we put a clear charter baseline in place, it'll help us build public trust. It'll give voters a transparent commitment. It gives communities a standard they can understand, and it gives RAP a planning floor. It strengthens confidence that essential public needs will be carried forward over time. This connects with other issues about democratic participation. We also, our charter committee is recommending support for the non-citizen enfranchisement proposal, as well as ranked choice voting. But all of these follow the same principle of democratic accountability. So I would just conclude by saying, please preserve the 0.065% funding level, keep it in the charter, and bring it to the voters. Bring it first to the full city council, and then let the voters decide this November. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm also here to support the charter reform for recreation and parks. I've enjoyed our parks all of my life. It's been a place of physical, mental, social interaction for me. Now, as a recreation professional, we need your help. Year after year, we are asked to do more and more with less and less. Our allocation has remained the same since 1937.
Rita.
Parks have become places of refuge, shelters in times of emergency, celebrations, birthday parties. We provide childcare, sports, cultural programs, and so much more. Communities need safe and active parks that are funded adequately. We need you, Council, to step up for us and help push this forward to our ballots. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, celebrating voter fraud, everybody. Let's give it a hand. So,
what name did you sign up under?
I'm here to support more
What name did you
voter
sign
fraud.
up under?
What?
What name did you sign up under?
Why, fool?
What name did you sign
didn't
up
ask
under?
no one else, did you?
What name did you sign up under?
You know what I signed up under.
I don't. That's why I'm asking.
Well, I mean, take a guess. Because I saw your bald head over there looking at the list. Take a guess. You're the council president. You're the most
As far
powerful
as I
man
know,
in
your
the
name
city.
is Mr. Spindler. Did you call Mr. Spindler?
No.
He called my alias. He called my AKA.
What's your alias?
My alias. My transport company. My alias. I transport all that dope. My alias. Right on. Just another dealer, fool. I'm just here to deal, motherfucker. Are you buying? Are you buying to quote Bullworth? Remember the movie Bullworth, your favorite movie? Are you buying, motherfucker? Or are you selling? Now, let's get to the issue at hand. We want more of this free voting, so I'm here to support non-citizen voting in the city. Let's give me a hand for that. Now, the reason why we should have non-citizen voting is because non-citizens own businesses and they own property and they pay taxes too, fool. And when the country was formed by those white motherfuckers in 1789, they motherfucking allowed everybody to vote only if you own property. Now, you racist motherfuckers want to take the right of a property owner to vote. I want to restore the right of the property owner to vote for the first time in 250 fucking years. So that's why non-citizens in local elections should have the right to vote. Right, Nithya? That's right, Wade. That's right. That way we don't get no goddamn Spencer Pratts around here, fool. We keep them out of our gates. So now let's get on here for suspension of people who are bad, You want to suspend elected officials for misconduct? I am against that item. Let's have complete, total illegality in the city. Let's allow every council member to take payoffs. Let's legalize bribery. So each one of you will have a little window, and we'll just put the $100 bills in there, and then we don't have to wait all day to talk about.
Before the next speaker begins, I'd like to call up a few more names. Luca De Leva, Kiyoshi Kumage, Francesca De La Rosa, Jonathan Williams, Joey Bucket, and Andrea Mack.
Hi, I'm Nico Akiem. I live in Council District 13, and I think we should put funding into the parks because, for one, late at night, if the practice is going late or if it just gets dark early, then it's really hard to practice, and it makes it really hard to see the ball, like for soccer, baseball, basketball, whatever you're doing. Well, for basketball, you do get inside, so I guess. And for two, because for the bathroom quality, just for that, because sometimes the bathrooms are really far away from the field where you practice the sports, and sometimes they're just bad quality in general, and it makes it so you don't want to go to the bathroom. And for three, because of the greenery quality, like the park that I live by, it's really good quality. There's a lot of trees and grass. It's nice. But I know some other parks are bad. There's a lot of asphalt and there's not as much trees and stuff. So I think we should put not a lot, but we should put money into funding the parks and making them have more greenery and stuff. That's all.
Joey Bucket, motherfucker. That's who I signed up as. We ready? I see the clock moving, folks. Now, regarding this fucking fraud on voting, motherfuckers, you got to have the ability to think outside the motherfucking box if you want to be heard. Because if you sit here for 2 hours and don't get hurt, you ain't worth shit as a voter. That's what happened with that noodle lady up there. Goddamn bitch cried. After what? 8th place lose? Then she becomes the next candidate. Now, I know that's fucking fraud, because if I'm not black, then I ain't right. Right, Dawson? So, Uncle Tom, that's for item number 10 for you, fool. Then I go into the shit about the fire department. You know what that is? Goddamn fraud there, too. Why is that? Why the Los Angeles Fire Department members work involuntarily for duty shit? I'll tell you why it's shit. Because you fired the first fucking firewoman on that Palisade shit and Malibu shit because she wasn't white enough to listen to your foolish ass. Right, Mr. Attorney? Am I right? Say amen, motherfucker! Because that's the problem. You don't fire people for the ability to turn off the fire. I'm on fire right now, motherfucker. I'm on fire because I got the Lord in me, motherfucker. Let me get an amen. Yeah, shame on you, motherfucker. Amen. Repent, motherfucker. You give that Crowley her $500,000 and let her move on. Never fire a lesbian woman. I love lesbian the way I ate all the pussy shirt. Get that on record, fool. It's a shirt, asshole.
You're off topic.
I'm Adam Saeed today, just for the record. Item 23 seems okay to me, but do the people really see it as priority? Item 24 seeks to give the council more oversight on the mayor relating to executive orders. I guess that's reasonable. These charter amendments, are they from the independent commission who listened to the people's wishes, their recommendations for implementation? Ooh, why not just let the people vote on the items the commission wrote? We don't need new amendments, no. Just let the people vote. And since this reform seeks to adjust mayoral authority, and there's a candidate here sitting on committee, shouldn't we be seeing the vice chair recusing? It's a conflict of interest, at best ethically ambiguous, since she's running for mayor. On item 1, we have the CLA's report on the recommendations that came out of commission. We don't need more studies, we need representation. Ooh, the people have made their demands for ranked choice voting and council expansion. You can study my ass. Let these amendments pass.
Please begin.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Andrea Mack, and I served on the Charter Reform Commission. I'm speaking as an individual today. I'm calling in strong report of CRC 39 on language access, and I urge you not to postpone it or ignore it. This recommendation came directly from community feedback from over 10 ANHPI communities, nonprofits that serve LA City residents. Language access is a human right, especially when we are talking about public services, public information, and civic participation. This recommendation is not a big ask. The recommendation simply embeds language access in the charter preamble and as a guiding principle as a value statement for one of the most diverse cities and the city's commitment to serve all residents of LA, no matter what language you speak. Please put CRC 39 on the 2026 ballot. I also urge you to keep momentum on broader reforms. On city council expansion, it has been in conversation for over 3 years without seeing any change. Our commission spent 10 months talking about setting expansion, and we need more. Whether or not 25 is the right number, what I do know is that where we are right now at 15 is not the right number for Los Angeles. And please do not create another commission and postpone the police accountability reforms. They are reasonable, and we do not require more study to place them onto the ballot. Please consider, I urge you to support those motions. Thank you.
Before the next speaker begins, I'd like to call up a few more names: Benjamin Harris, Mireya Valencia, and Sarah Wiltfong.
Good afternoon. I am Kiyoshi Kumagai. Members of the commission, I'm speaking because I believe it is in our best interest to install a more true form of representational government instead of stalling it to a later date. The people of Los Angeles believe that no further study is needed or required to let our voices be heard. This is a delay, a denial, a deposing of our voices. The people of Los Angeles believe an expansion of the city council, the implementation of ranked choice voting, the expansion of the comptroller's powers, and a council-led accountability of police actions is necessary for us to be propped up and be a true and beautiful Los Angeles. Thank you.
The International Olympic Committee has provided Los Angeles with $160 million in funding to ensure that all kids in LA, regardless of household income, have access to sport. Recreation and Parks' Play LA program is funded by this Olympic donation, and with it, we've been able to remove the financial barrier that in previous years has prevented kids from low-income households from playing sports. Parents can now sign their kids up to play sports at a cost of $10 per season. This Olympic funding This funding is set to expire at the end of the 28 Olympics, and Recreation and Parks does not have another funding source in place. If this funding expires and there's no replacement, the cost to play youth sports will go up from $10 a season, as it is currently, to a minimum of $180. I respectfully ask the Rules Committee to include the Recreation and Parks allocation increase on the Charter Amendment ballot measure. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Williams with the Battleship Iowa. Great to be back here in the City Council chambers and see you again. I'm here to support Councilman McCosker's charter reform proposal to ensure the port's commitment to the community continues to occur. I know I've got a lot of friends here in the audience here from San Pedro, from the business community, local community members, as well as some outside the front door even. But the waterfront is managed for the benefit of the citizens of Los Angeles and the state of California. We've seen it firsthand on the waterfront. I've had a front row seat over about 14, 15 years as the port's made that investment. And we've seen San Pedro finally, after decades of neglect, come up to its day. As waterfronts throughout California were developed and brought tens of thousands, millions of visitors down through them, San Pedro continued to be neglected for those decades. So it's time that we ensure this does not occur. To the great communities of San Pedro and Wilmington, it's time that they have their day, as these other waterfronts across California does, and it's important to enshrine this in city charter to make sure this does not occur again to the communities down in the harbor area, and especially Los Angeles that enjoys the access to those waterfronts. Thank you.
My name is Francesca De La Rosa. As a mom and lifelong resident of Los Angeles and in solidarity with the partners here, I just want to go on record to say it is absolutely the time to move forward with the proposed police oversight accountability reforms forward. Let's finally let the people decide on this one. So we stand with all of you here today. Also, like so many here today and across the city, I rely on our recreation and park system for its year-round programming to support my family. I am deeply frustrated with the growing feeling that the commitments and conversations had with our broad coalition are now being undermined last minute. In fact, it is starting to appear like empty promises were made before recent city elections, and backroom deals are now being worked out before key city council votes. I'm asking to stand up and push back on the CLA report. The CLA is recommending addressing parks funding through an ordinance rather than a charter amendment. An ordinance can be repealed or modified by a council majority at any time. The CLA's proposed language is so broad that it would leave all parks funding vulnerable. Let me restate what we have been saying all year. We need full funding for RAP, doubling the charter allocation. Move it forward to voters now. Do it, not wait. Funding must be protected in the charter, not in an ordinance subject to City Hall's whims. Let us vote. Funding must be phased in over a maximum of 5 years. The only allowable pause is a formally declared citywide fiscal emergency. So let's stand firm and move these asks forward. Thank you.
Before the next speaker begins, I'd like to call up a few more names. Aaron Hoops, Gary Harum, Kirk C., Matilda Reyes, Val Marquez, and Rap R&B.
Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Chair and committee members, my name is Luca DeLiva, and I am a third-generation CD15 resident. I'm here in support of Councilmember McOsker's proposed charter reform establishing the Public Access Investment Plan for the Port of Los Angeles. I support this item for 2 reasons. First, it preserves public access to the waterfront for future generations. Second, it promotes equity, ensuring that the port-related growth produces visible, tangible improvements for the surrounding community. Cargo volumes and revenues alone are not enough to measure the port's success. What matters just as much is how well the port serves the people of Los Angeles. The Public Access Investment Plan provides a framework for aligning economic growth with community benefits, but to give it permanence, to insulate it from the shifts in port leadership or administration, it belongs in the charter. I urge you to support this item. Thank you.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Benjamin Harris with Los Angeles Waterkeeper. Please support the Charter Reform Commission's recommendation to increase the Department of Recreation and Parks charter allocation. Budget allocations for our parks have lagged behind the city's overall budget. The city invests just $92 per capita on parks compared to $283 per capita in other cities. This year, the Trust for Public Land ranked LA 93rd out of the 100 largest cities in park space. That is unacceptable. Maintaining and expanding our parks is critical. It's a critical investment we need to make in order to protect our most vulnerable communities from climate impacts in the 21st century. Parks serve as natural climate resilience infrastructure. They provide cooling from shade trees, undeveloped open spaces, from water bodies. Parks also can improve our air and water quality, capture stormwater for new water supplies, and establish pockets of critical habitat in our highly urbanized region. If we don't invest more in our park system, we will only worsen the disproportionate living conditions that many of our low-income communities currently face in our city. The charter is the only way to protect funding for RAP. Stable charter funding, phased in over a maximum of 5 years, will ensure these parks can provide vital services and improve climate resilience over the long term, which is what's really important here. The alternative proposed by the chief legislative analyst and ordinance could be repealed or changed by any time by the City Council, making park funding vulnerable even outside of fiscal emergencies and leaving voters without a say. The health and well-being of our city depends on prompt action to protect and enhance our parks. We cannot afford to delay any longer. So please advance this important item to the general ballot in November and allow city residents the opportunity to decide whether to prioritize parks for themselves. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Mireya Valencia. I am a CD1 resident and president of the MacArthur Park Neighborhood Council, but speaking today as an individual. I'm here to support doubling Rec and Parks charter allocation and urge this matter to be moved forward to the full council. My neighbors in MacArthur Park deserve safe, clean, and well-maintained parks. Parks are a city-wide resource. They are basic city services and should be protected, just like libraries are with their charter allocation. This is not an issue that can be left to the whims of City Council. A charter allocation is crucial. Thank you for protecting parks for future generations.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. My name is Natasha Villa, and I am a proxy for Sarah Wilfong. I'm here on behalf of the Supply Chain Federation, as well as the Pacific Merchant Shipping Association, which represents marine terminal operators, ocean carriers, and maritime businesses operating at the Port of Los Angeles. We support the CLA recommendation to note and file Council Files 25-0118 and 26-0426-S2, and to retain the existing charter language governing the Port of Los Angeles. The current charter structure has served the port and the city well for decades by providing the Board of Harbor Commissioners with the flexibility needed to manage a complex international gateway. These proposed amendments would add unnecessary mandates and administrative requirements that could slow investment, delay projects, and reduce the port's ability to respond to changing economics and operational conditions. The port is already facing intense competition from other gateways throughout North America. This is not the time to impose additional charter requirements that could undermine efficiency and competitiveness. We therefore respectfully urge the committee to concur with the CLA recommendation and note and file these motions. Thank you for your time.
Before the next speaker begins, I'd like to call up a few more names: John Christensen, Sherry Marshall, and Mike Acevedo.
Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment. My name is Matilda Reyes. I'm with the Trust for Public Land. We are asking our city leaders to stand with our parks and invest in the spaces that strengthen our communities. Our parks cannot wait. Since 2008, RAP's full-time staffing has declined by 28%. leaving us without the resources needed to keep our parks safe, clean, and fully operational. With increased funding, RAP can expand park services, enhance public safety, and invest in fire prevention. Additionally, funding would also allow RAP to grow its successful community school parks partnership with LAUSD. This program is a win for students, families, schools, and neighborhoods across LA. I recently attended the grand opening of the community school parks at Carlos Santana Arts Academy in North Hills and was so inspired by what I saw. A vibrant community space filled with opportunities for recreation, learning, and connection. When properly funded, RAP can transform school campuses into welcoming weekend destinations that provide safe spaces, engaging activities, and valuable resources for local communities. We want to see these opportunities available in every neighborhood across our city. You have the power to make this happen. Support our parks, invest in our communities. The time to act is now. Double RAP's funding and place the measure in the November ballot. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Herrera. I am the former president of the ILW Local 13 and a community member of 53 years in San Pedro. I'm here in support of Charter Amendments number 1 and 5, talking about a worker impact report. Give you a little bit of history. Started back in 2018 when a terminal operator told us that the only reason why they wanted to automate was to simply get rid of jobs. It wasn't about production, it wasn't about efficiency. Move forward to today, we have a job loss of 1,000. There's a narrative out there that talks about that there's more work by this terminal operator, APMT, which is not true. We're facing job loss all day, every day. As a matter of fact, I believe there's some council members right now whose family had their job displaced due to AI. And what we're asking for today is to have a worker impact report so that we can see what we're facing. We talked earlier, I heard somebody say that containerization or the amount of containers is not important, but the community is. These ports belong to us. You cannot allow the tax dollar to get rid of the taxpayer. So having a worker impact report, seeing what the job loss looks like, what we're gonna maintain or retain or even increase, it's imperative in a time today when everybody's facing AI and automation. We want to have just as much as an opportunity as an environmental impact report. We want clean, green, zero emission terminals, but not at the cost of jobs. And that worker impact report and no public money towards automation protects our communities, protects the workers. You're going to sit here today and you're going to see some opposition. This is not about stopping automation as it was talked about earlier. This is about simply putting a report together so we can see what we're facing. This is common sense. This is an easy one. You represent the people of Los Angeles, represent them well, protect their jobs, and see what we're up against. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Valentin Marquez. I've been a business owner and a homeowner for over 50 years in El Sereno. And more than 20 years I've worked with Rec and Parks as a community volunteer and advocate for the neighborhood parks. I've learned simple truth. When you don't invest in people, staff, operations, you keep getting the same results. Problems don't get solved. Communities are left waiting. In El Sereno, we've seen this firsthand. A merry-go-round that was once a favorite for local children broke and was removed. It took more than a year to replace, and it was replaced with an older version that is no longer used because of the liability concerns. We've also seen what happens when projects are delayed. Our original park was designed in 3 years, built in 4 months through the private funding by Trust for Public Land. Yet, Prop 68 funding expansion was expansion of the same park is now in its 6th year, going on 7. Delayed staffing, limitations, raising costs mean the community may receive only 60% of what was originally selected. This is not criticism of park staff. They do what they can with the resources they are given. The problem is the system is broken, underfunded for decades. This is not a new tax. It's about restoring funding for rec and parks that can maintain parks, complete projects, and serve the community the way they deserve. Please support charter funding. Let the voters decide. Our community deserves better. Our children deserve better. Thank you.
My name is Erin Hoops, and I'm here to say we do not need any more studies. We've been coming to meetings for over a year. We know what we want. Let the people vote. We are tired of going back. Let's just study it some more. Ranked choice voting has been studied for years by different states, different cities, different counties. There's plenty of research out there. We can just read it, and we can use it, and we can make our decision in November. So please, stop studying all of these things and just put them to the voters. Thank you.
Rogelio Martinez. I support ranked choice voting. So what is ranked choice voting? Here's an example. There's 4 candidates. You go from top to bottom, 1 through 4. The person with the lowest average, that's the elected official. I am not in favor with non-citizens having the right to vote. I was born in Mexico. I went through the nationalization process to have that right. So I am not in favor of non-citizens having the right to vote. That is a citizen choice. And also, I'm in support of the Workforce Impact Report. And the reason why is because what makes the International Longshoremen and Warehouse Union special is that, did you know that 70% of them actually live in the community, unlike most unions that work but live outside of the community? So they are much more than a union. They are a community. However, I urge you, because I've been part of such report, that they be part of the request for proposal, meaning who is actually going to do the report. And the reason why is because it might not be in their favor. So for the sake of transparency, they should be part of who is going to be doing said report. And then lastly, I'm not in favor for expanding city council. Expansion of city council means more government. More government means more money. More money means more taxes to taxpayers. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members and committee members. My name is Greg Mitri. I'm the president of the ILW Southern California Pensioners. I'm here today to urge you to pass Councilman McCosker's charter reform bill that he's put forward. I'm 68 years old today. I was born and raised in San Pedro. I've worked in the harbor for over 50 years. I worked here when the shipping lines that called here were American President lines and Matson lines. American crews, American vessels, American flag vessels. Today in Los Angeles Harbor, you have 0 American vessels coming in and American crewed vessels. I ask you today to take a serious consideration at this issue due to the fact that the American people, the citizens of Los Angeles, and the City Council is long overdue in providing some oversight in how the leases and how the port is maintained. The port leases are very, very important to the community, very important to the citizens of Los Angeles. 1 in 9 jobs, like Councilman McCosker mentioned earlier, are created in the Port of Los Angeles. We have foreign national companies now. There are no American companies there that are leasing out these ports and are taking all of these profits and taking them back to their home countries, while not putting back any of the money back into the community. So it is long overdue that we have some community oversight through the City Council, for the residents, for the citizens of the City of Los Angeles, and to retain all of the workers. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm John Christensen. I teach and do research in the Institute of the Environment and Sustainability at UCLA. Our dismal ranking at number 93rd among the 100 largest cities in America and the tragic state of our park system in Los Angeles is entirely due to our lack of investment in parks. And this city council is about to repeat the mistakes of the past. The Department of Recreation and Parks budget has essentially been flatlining since the Great Recession in 2008, when the City Council voted to require RAP to return money to the general fund to cover other city expenses, essentially robbing Peter to pay Paul. Since then, our spending on parks has not even kept up with inflation. If the City Council does not improve increasing the department's charter allocation, things will just keep getting worse, and I'm afraid parks will have to be shut down. It doesn't have to be this way. The city's own park needs assessment identified clear paths forward, but council leadership and the mayor blocked one solution, a citizens' initiative for a dedicated funding source. Now just one path is open. We need to invest more in our parks, not less every year. Yet some on this council are advocating for keeping the status quo, in which parks have to vie for funding every year with everything else and inevitably come out at the bottom. It's simply not true that if we have decent parks, we cannot also have a decent city. This is a tragedy just waiting to get worse, and it will be on this council.
Hello, my name is Michael. I wanted to urge the committee here to really consider bringing to vote the access to ranked choice voting for the people of Los Angeles. It is very important that we have a way to representatively vote as constituents here in the city. Second, I do urge the council to consider expanding the council membership from 15 to 25, as we are a city filled with 3.8 million people and only have 15 council members. It should be higher. There are cities like Chicago and New York that have higher than 30 to 50 council members for their city, and we have only 15. That makes no representational sense. Third, we should have LAPD reform. As somebody who has watched ICE raid my neighborhood time in and time out, had an ICE agent pull a gun at my face last summer, and on top of that, boxed me in a few months ago while I was just driving home, I do not feel safe in the city that I love. So I urge the council to reconsider what the CLA has recommended and actually put this up to the vote for the constituents of California. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Acevedo from Studio City. Los Angeles may be nonpartisan, but Democrats have controlled City Hall for 25 years. During that time, wealth inequality, housing costs, homelessness, police violence, and public distrust have all grown. I don't want to compare LA to New York City, but over the last year, New York City has shown where there's a will, there's a way. Does Los Angeles have the will to be a beacon of American progress? Only if you listen to the people here and adopt the following. First, for park's sake, fund RAP. To create a more democratic and responsive city, we need crucial structural reforms. Los Angeles has the worst representation of any major city in America. Each council member has way too many residents, and the council has not been expanded in 100 years. Expanding the council will allow Angelenos to have better access to their representatives and allow more issues to be adequately addressed. We must adopt ranked choice voting. It encourages participation as opposed to structural or strategic harm reduction, and eliminates fear-based voting around boogeymen like Spencer Pratt and Rick Caruso. We also need meaningful LAPD accountability. The LAPD receives the lion's share of our resources, yet we continue to pay the enormous costs from our general funds for their lawsuits. The people showed up at the city charter reform processes and made their support for Kenneth Mejia known. It's now time to listen to his office and give him every single one of the asks that he's asked for. When we live in a time where Trump is using fraud as a means to invade blue cities, we already lost Keith Porter, which this city and our federal representatives have frighteningly been silent on. So if you actually care about the people of Los Angeles, listen to our city controller, give us ranked choice voting, fund our parks, and get the LAPD under control. Thank you.
Before the next speaker begins, I'd like to call up a few more names. Sarah Friedman, Greg Miter, David Ross, Javier Sanchez, and Aiden Pulido.
Please begin.
Will everybody listen? Excuse me, is everybody listening? My name is Sherry, and I'm a proud member of the Los Angeles Black Workers Center. One thing I keep coming back to is this. If these recommendations weren't reasonable, so many different organizations wouldn't be standing behind them. I don't think everyone's listening. Hello? People don't agree on everything, but on this, there is broad support. Jobs to Move America, United Teachers Los Angeles, the Southern California Black Worker Hub, Ask Me District Council 36, ACT LA, Trust South LA, the UCLA Center for the Advancement of Racial Equity at Work. That's teachers, public employees, warehouse workers, racial justice organizations, and community groups all saying the same thing. These recommendations deserve to move forward. At some point, we have to decide whether workforce equity is something we talk about or something we're willing to act on. This coalition has spoken. Black workers have spoken. Hundreds of Angelenos have spoken. Now we're asking this committee to do its part. We're asking you to move these recommendations forward.
Good afternoon. My name is David Ross. I'm a resident in San Pedro for 30 years, and I am also a member of the International Longshore Warehouse Union. I'm here today to show my support in Councilmember McCosker's amendment to the proposed charter. Right now, in recent events, the port has made comments that allowing this amendment to go through would drive away work. The only thing replacing work is automation. And right now, as you have all made it clear to have the responsible thing and having an environmental impact report to protect the well-being of the constituents and the people that live here, we want the same thing done in the working place. If we clean the environment but we don't protect the jobs, don't protect the future of our generations, we won't have anything left. And as new infrastructure changes, when we go from diesel to zero emission, from hydrogen to electrification, there will be new projects, there will be work. And it shouldn't be about unions against unions. It should be about the working class protecting what's ours, and you, as the elected officials, protecting our best interests as we give taxes. We're not here to say that this bill is going to kill automation. If the employers decide to do their own project, that's one thing. But to give a proposed taxpayer money to automation would be detrimental. And we want transparency, and we just want the information there, just as we've asked many times before on the environment. So please treat the working people just as the same as we treat the environment. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Saluzzo, Regional Director of the Inland Boatmen's Union, the Marine Division of ILWU, and Secretary Treasurer of the ILWU Southern California District Council. I'm here with my union brothers and sisters in full support of a workforce impact report and a ban on public funds for automation. Our members live here, they work this port. We've already watched automation take jobs at 2 terminals with no meaningful transparency and no accountability. The worker impact report fixes that. It's the same logic as an environmental impact report. You assess the impact before you approve the project. Everyone in here, in this room, is a worker. Any decision made should be calculated and measured before making the decision. We all deserve that respect and consideration. So on behalf of all of my fellow union brothers and sisters, we urge you to support item 16. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Teresa Trujillo. I am a resident of the 1-5 and also a member of Local 13 ILW, International Longshore Warehouse Union. And I'm speaking in favor of the city charter to change, to add the workforce impact report. It is very important that we have this in the charter because, like myself, I rely on the work at the port. I work in the port, but I also live in the community. If I didn't have this job, I wouldn't be able to go into the community, go to local stores, go to local restaurants to support the community. I wouldn't be able to support my mother. I wouldn't be support my grandmother. I wouldn't be supporting myself. I got in a letter that said I'll be retiring in 2066. That's a long time. And I want to stay in this job. I want to be in this industry for that amount of time. But if we do not have these, I don't know if my job will even be here by then. So I urge you guys to make sure that if you guys consider and also you guys adopt this language that is up forth in this policy. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Drew Gutierrez, and I was born and raised in the city of Wilmington, a city that is supported by the port. I'm here to speak in favor of changing the city charter by adding changes to the port leasing policy through the use of a workforce impact report and ensuring that no city funds can be used for automation at the port. I also represent the ILW Local 94. The men and women I represent supervise and coordinate cargo operations that are critical to our nation's supply chain. As technology continues to advance, workers across every industry are concerned about the effects of job displacement. We believe the public deserves transparency regarding those impacts, particularly when public resources may be involved. We also believe policymakers should carefully evaluate the long-term consequences of decisions affecting the critical port infrastructure, including workforce impacts, operational reliability, and community benefits. These reforms are not about resisting change. They are about ensuring that change is implemented responsibly with transparency and consideration for the workers and communities that have helped make the port successful. The men and women of the ILW have felt the effects of the loss of jobs with the 3 terminals that have implemented automation. Unfortunately, some of the citizens and policymakers of the city of Los Angeles don't realize the impact of loss of jobs to automation to the communities unless they personally are affected. The numbers of the loss of jobs in the port have been staggering. This reform will help open eyes and view the broader picture. I respectfully ask for your support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members. I want to start off by saying I don't envy your position. Most people come here with problems. I think we're here for a solution. My name is Adan Pulido, an employee of the great Department of Rec and Parks. I'm here in support of file 26-0489. I want to thank everyone who has spoken so eloquently on the need of doubling RAP's charter allocation of funds. I was here to give you tons of data metrics, but if you Google Fund LA Parks Campaign, I repeat, if you Google Fund LA Parks Campaign, you will see why we are now ranked 93rd out of 100 similar cities across the nation. So thank you to our GM, executive team, and Board of Commissioners for developing the Parks Needs Assessment. LA City was the first in the nation to create a Rec and Parks Department. Again, the first in the nation. Let's do right by Angelenos and make this investment back into the same communities that elected you into your current positions. RAP is more than the backbone of community building through people, parks, and programs. We always rise to the task when asked. When COVID hit, we mobilized citywide mass care shelters. When it was time for students to go back to school during COVID, our department created distant learning centers with internet for those without access. When LAUSD teachers have gone on strike, we have been there by supporting daily childcare services. We are heroes too, yet we are asked to do more with less. I'm here to ask that, well, all of you here have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I politely ask you to push this motion through, let this motion appear on the November ballot, and let us have the residents who elected you to decide if RAP deserves to be restored to baseline services. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, I can't follow that up. My name is Sarah Friedman. I'm here with the Trust for Public Land, and I am advocating for doubling Rec and Parks charter allocation and doing that in the charter. As was just eloquently described, our city's charter was created in 1925, and in that charter, we created the Rec and Parks Department. That has always been there. In 1937, the next iteration of the charter, a charter minimum allocation was put in that constitutional document to ensure that parks funding and libraries funding would be kept whole and away from the whims of city government. And for most of the history of our city, that was the case. It was supplemented in some years, and some years it was not. In 2009, due to a policy change put in place in a recession, the city started taking back indirect funds. Today, that's the park system we have. We've lost 40, today, the park system gets 40% of its funding back before it reaches the park. This is a correction. This is about restoring basic services to our city and who we are as a city today. Let us vote. Let us create the city we want to see and get the basic services that our peer cities have. Give this to us, Los Angeles.
Good afternoon. My name is Brandy Good, and I'm the Vice President of Local 13. I'm here to speak in favor of changing the city charter by adding changes to the port leasing policy through the use of workforce impact report and ensuring that no city funds can be used for automation at the port. I have spent over 20 years working on the waterfront. I'm also a mother raising two daughters in our community.
Ma'am, can you hold her time for 1 second? I want to recognize the Girl Scout Troop 2153 in the back who came to visit with us today. Before you guys cut out, thank you for spending some time with us. And you can see how hard your neighbors are fighting for there to be park space in the city, among other things. So thank you for the Girl Scouts for being with us today. So sorry. Apologies to our speaker, but I had to, they had to go.
That's okay. And it fits right in because I'm a mother of 2 Girl Scouts. In our community, for families like mine, the port is more than a vessel and cargo, it is opportunity. It is the reason why many working families have been able to buy homes, access health care, and send their children to college and build a better future. The port has helped generations of harbor area families achieve the American dream, but those opportunities should not be taken for granted. Today, we are simply asking for transparency and accountability. Before major lease decisions are made, elected officials and public should understand how those decisions will impact workers, families, and the communities that have grown alongside the port for generations. The workers who move cargo and families who depend on these jobs and the communities that support the port deserve nothing less. I respectfully ask for your support. Thank you.
Buenas tardes a todos los señores concejales de este comité.
Good afternoon to all the council members on this committee.
Mi nombre es Javier Sánchez y estoy aquí para pedir apoyo a la moción de este consejo 26-0638.
My name is Javier Sanchez, and I'm here to ask for your support on motion 26-0638.
Y vengo aquí para pedirles a todos los concejales que apoyen esta moción, porque yo llevo viviendo 36 años en el sur centro de Los Ángeles.
I'm here because I'm asking for everyone on the committee to please support this motion. I have been living in Los Angeles for 36 years now.
Y pienso que los que no somos ciudadanos queremos el derecho a votar por los propios políticos de nuestro distrito.
And I think that those who are not citizens of this area or of this country should have the right to be able to vote for their local politicians.
Tengo una hija de 37 años que fue beneficiaria de DACA y también le gustaría participar en los votos locales, no estatales ni federales, sino hablamos de estatales.
And I actually have a daughter who's 37 years old, and she is a DACA recipient, and she would also like to be able to vote in our local elections, just the local elections, not the state or the federal elections.
Porque nosotros también contribuimos con nuestro trabajo, con nuestro apoyo a la ciudad, con nuestros impuestos y el apoyo a la ciudad. Y eso es lo que pido yo.
And that's because we contribute to this city through our work. We contribute through our taxes and our support of this community. So we ask to have that right.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Mike Carranza. I'm the Secretary Business Agent of ILW Local 63. I'm here today to support Councilman McCosker. I'm a proud member of the ILW, active member for 45 years. ILW Locals 13, 63, and 94 represent approximately 15,000 workers whose labor keeps cargo moving through one of the most important trade gateways in the world. The port's success has always depended on its workforce. As the port continues to evolve, elected officials and the public should have access to information regarding how major lease decisions may impact the employment opportunities and the local economy. Workforce impact reports are a common sense tool. They provide transparency and help decision makers evaluate the economic and employment impacts of proposed projects before approvals are granted. Good decisions require good information. We believe these reports will help ensure the long-term success of both the port and the communities that depend on it. And just for a note, on my local 63, our impact on job loss is 70 to 80% because of automation, which is not cool. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you so much. That concludes our time for public comment today. For the record, it is 2:56, 11 minutes after the time we indicated. Madam Clerk, before we get into the meat of the discussion, I want to move that we continue the following items, CRC 54 through 58, which are police reforms or the relationship between the police department and the council. I want to recognize Councilmember Soto Martinez, who's a member of this committee, who can't be here today, but has been working a lot on these matters along with other members of the council inside the constraints of the Brown Act, of course. And so there other items that we want to continue to Monday are item number 13. This is Councilmember Soto Martinez motions on non-citizen voting, which is on page 36 of the CLA report. Rules items 1 and 2 on page 41, as well as the recommendations from the Personnel Department to give us time to consider information from the department that was uploaded after 8 p.m. last night. And I think most members have not actually had a chance to review it, and we have not had the proper noticing time. So we'll continue those items, the personnel items as well as the police items, until Monday at a time. So before we begin, I want to call our chief legislative analyst as well as our chief administrator, Mr. Szabo, to the table to give us an overview of the items or of the process that we've undertaken to get to the point that we have this report in front of us. And throughout our consideration of these items, kind of like we do, kind of like the process Councilmember Yaroslavsky leads in budget, if you all remain there to answer questions or other inquiries as they come, it would be greatly appreciated, a greatly appreciated addition to our discussion today. Madam CLA, you got it.
Yes. Good afternoon, Sharon So, CLA with Matt Szabo, the City Administrative Officer. The item before you is the CLA report on the Charter Reform Commission's report to this committee. We focused our recommendations on the committee's discussion as well as direction from you and some additional analysis done by our office. In general, approximately 1/3 of the items are being recommended to be moved forward on either through the charter or through an administrative code change. About another third are note and file, and about another third of the recommendations are recommended for further study. And the further study just really simply refers to additional time and analysis that we're requesting. We only had about a couple of weeks after the committee concluded their discussions to put together this report. There's approximately 23 to 25 CLA analysts who are working around the clock to respond to this committee with the recommendations on the Charter Reform Commission recommendations. You know, and I want to address some of the things that we discussed on further study. I know that there is some frustration with that, and we really believe that in some of these instances that it is really important to look at some of the past reform efforts, which actually Mr. McOsker mentioned, that it took 2 years for the last Charter Reform Commission to do a wholesale review of the charter. This is done in a relatively short period of time for your committee to act and the time that we had to respond to your direction. In addition to that, many of the proposals, in fact, all of the proposals did not have a single financial impact for you to consider. And as your CLA and as your CAO, that would be very concerning as we move forward to make sure that we understand what the impacts of each one of these particular charter reform would do to the city budget. And we know how difficult it is each year as we go through the budget process about allocating additional funds and making commitments for more funds and actually tying our hands to do that. And as you know, as CLA, I am always trying to preserve some flexibility and discretion for this council. What you choose to do is up to you. So it's also too important for further study that we have a historical perspective on what we're doing. There are many reasons why the charter is structured the way it is. And Mr. McOsker actually alluded to it with regard to the police reform measures, that this is years and years of effort that have led us to what the charter looks like today. And I think it's really important that before wholesale changes are made to the constitution of this city, that we be very, very thoughtful and understand the historical perspective before we make those types of changes. We just need some additional time. And Mr. Harris Dawson, you've already committed to standing up an ad hoc committee to consider those. We look forward to working with that ad hoc committee to diving into greater detail with these issues. There's also one other thing that I'd like to state publicly as it relates to expanding the council. I know that that is very near and dear to Ms. Rahman, we had many discussions on it during the previous charter reform. But I still maintain that, you know, for council members, whether you're representing 230,000 people or whether you're representing 100,000 people, really the work is actually done by your staff. And that's how you deliver services to the people, to your constituents. So I would advocate, and just addressing some of the folks out here, that really you need to add to your staff, because that's how you provide services to your community and to your constituents. Again, this is really about flexibility and discretion and taking a balanced approach, taking some additional time. In addition, one last thing I'd like to point out is many of these reforms that are being proposed have relationships to other reforms. And so I think it's really important that before we do certain reforms in a vacuum, that once you have a complete package, that we have an opportunity to step back and take a look at how they work together. So those are my comments. John and Steve are here to walk you through the committee report after Mr. Zabel's comments. We can do it similar to what we've done in Budget Committee, which is page by page, and then members can call those individual items special, and then we can move on to the next page based on the recommendations of the CLA in the report. So, Mr. Chair, I will leave it at that.
All right, Mr. Zabel?
Actually, Mr. Chair, I think at this time, I can reserve my comments until we get to some of the specific issues. If you'd like the CLA to move through, and then when the items are called special, as it relates to the items with financial impact, I'll comment at that time.
Sure, if you don't have any comments to add in summary, I'm happy to move on.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Good afternoon, John Wickham with the Office of the Chief Legislative Analyst. I just had a couple quick notes before we dive into Table 1. Just for reference, of course, we're looking at the November 2026 ballot for the actions that you're looking forward to here. The next ballot that will go to the voters is in March 2028, actually. And the council will need to act by approximately November 2027 for putting anything on the March 2028 ballot. So the pathway that you have laid out earlier in this meeting, the ad hoc, they actually will have a very fast timeline to do the work and make sure that those next set of big issues is going forward to the voters.
So thank you for that, Mr. Wickham. So just so my team is, as we write the letter to form the committee, do you believe that an August 26 through June 27 timeline gives adequate time, or should it be shorter?
That would absolutely be plenty of time.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's the recommendation. All right. Thank you.
Great. And then a couple of quick notes. Subsequent to the release of our report, the City Planning Department reached out to us and advised us that the language in Recommendation 5 should be revised. This is the language relating to the CEQA finding. We had initially understood that only related to the FAR CRC item. It turns out that the city attorney is advising that should apply to all of the items going forward on the ballot. And so we just have a simple recommendation that we wanted to read in the record, and Deborah Choi with our office is here to do that. And I'll give her my chair.
All right.
The technical amendment will be to the CLA report dated June 10th, 2026. It's item 1 on this agenda as follows. Amend Recommendation 5 with the following revisions, and thereby remove the related existing language contained in pages 2, 6 through 7, and page 53. The revision will be, as Mr. Wickham noted, to delete the language on floor area restriction limitation amendment, CRC 9, and to replace that with, quote, charter amendments to be presented for the November 2026 ballot, unquote.
Great, thank you. And then just real quick, the last item is we did identify one or two other items that the committee had asked us to look at. In particular, other revisions, reporting on other revisions to Section 104 of the Charter. What we found is that removing the ability of the city to have a city newspaper would be could be added to the action to be removed from the charter. That was a historical issue related to a variety of very interesting things. So we could actually remove Charter Section 104F, which is the prohibition on city operating a municipal newspaper. However, there is additional reporting and review that we need to do on Charter Section 104A and 104B. It seems that the language in the charter actually has ties to the state constitution, and we need to make sure that we fully evaluate the impacts of why those are in our charter, how it relates to the state constitution, and some of those provisions actually go back to the 1800s. So we just want to be very careful on how we structure that, but so we would advise that as part of the further study is looking at Charter Section 104A and 104B.
Can we get that by Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
You mean the analysis?
So we don't have to delay this until 28, we could do it Monday.
We'll see if we can get the city attorney's help on that, but we'll do our best.
Councilmember Rahman?
All right, what is that related to? What issue is that related to?
So 104A relates to, I believe it's mortgages, the city's ability to mortgage its property. And there's actually state law that requires a 2/3 vote for that. And under all circumstances, the city actually agreed to put language in the charter that just says we're not going to mortgage our property at all. So there's significant. We just need to make sure we understand what the state law requires and how that constrains us and why we've chosen to accept that. And then there was another one about.
But, sorry, just to understand, what recommendation is it regarding, though?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is
where
on
is this?
recommendation.
Is it CRC 11?
CRC 11.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Just to clarify, this was also a recommendation from Councilmember Yaroslavsky at the conclusion of our last meeting to remove this section.
Yeah.
And as you're researching the history, which I think is very important, I think the original intent of Councilmember Yaroslavsky is that we put whatever protections we're required to have in the admin code rather than in the charter.
Yes.
Is that right?
And if we're not required to have it at all, then
We don't have it.
we don't need to have it at all. We can choose to if we want to, separate from charter.
Yes. So we just wanted to make sure that we were thoughtful about that because it does relate to California Constitution.
Got it.
Okay. Great. So with that, you wanted to go page by page through table 1. And so we would begin on page 3.
Hold on before you start, Councilmember Rahman.
I had a question which is not related to the pages here, which is there's 2 questions that came in via motion or via verbal motion in the committee that were not addressed in the CLA report. So I just wanted to clarify where those went or what happened with those. One was Council File 26-0779, which is the OPA LA San motion from Councilmember Nazarian. And the other question was a May 28th instruction from Councilmember Soto Martinez in this committee asking about a budget allocation for the Controller's office. Neither of those were addressed in the report, although I believe every other motion that was put forward for consideration by this committee was addressed. So I just wanted to ask what happened to those.
Okay. Steve, do you want to talk about the OPA? 260779.
As it relates to the OPA motion that was before the committee at its last meeting, from what we recall and we re-listened to the meeting as well,
The committee asked for a report back on these issues to analyze the legal implications and any costs associated with it. So we would recommend that for this motion, that this would be a further study moving forward for 2028 because we haven't had the opportunity to fully review this matter.
And I'm sorry if we missed the budget allocation for the controller's office, but consistent with our other recommendations from the CAO and the CLA with regard to placing automatic budget allocations in the charter, we would advise against that. If there's additional information that we would report on for Monday, we can see if we can put together a quick.
I'll follow up if I have any before the end of this meeting. Thanks.
Are
Let's
you
go.
ready? Okay, page 1.
309.
I mean, page 3.
It's 309. Let's go.
Okay. So page 3 of table 1, CRC 1, CRC 2.
Yeah, I got an amendment on number 1, Director of Public Works.
Okay.
And I don't know if we need to read all of these into the record or if we can submit them in writing. We need to read them. Okay. Concur with the CLA to revise Section 507 to remove reference to existing bureaus of the Department of Public Works and also to present to voters in November 2026 a charter amendment consistent with the CRC recommended changes to Charter Sections 581 and 582 to empower the Director of Public Works and better define this role in relation to the Board of Public Works. This language is meant to, one, affirm the position of Director of Public Works and define the relationship between the Director and the Board of Public Works, and remove the language that requires a Board of Public Works. This does not take away the Board of Public Works, but it creates the option of doing it should the mayor and the council decide that makes sense. All right, that's the recommendation.
Very good. And on item 2, no change?
I got nothing on 2.
Okay. And then, so we will move on to page 4. I think the practice is that if there are any items you want to call special, you can call them special, and then we can come back to the recommendation and the. Okay.
All right, so I won't read again. Gotcha.
So CRCs 3, 4, 5, and 6.
4. 4 I'll call special.
Yep.
Four is you for special, yeah.
4 and 6.
Mr. Chair, so perhaps it would be, for simplicity, we can go through each page, call the specials, and then we can go back to the specials.
Got it. Sure, that makes sense.
Okay, great. So we have CRC 4 as special. Any other items on page 4?
Item 6.
6.
Okay. Moving on, page 5, we have CRC 7.
Item 7.
Page 6, we have CRC 8 and CRC 9.
CRC 8, please.
I have a question about 8 as well.
Okay. Page 7, CRC 10, CRC 11.
CRC 11, oh no, nope, sorry.
CRC 10 for me.
Okay. Page 8, we have CRC 12, 13, 14, and 15.
13 for me.
12.
Okay.
Oh, and 13.
We have, thank you. Okay, page 9, we have CRC 16, 17, 18, and 19. Okay, seeing no specials. Page 10, CRC 20, 21, 22. Okay, no special. Page 11, we have CRC 23, 24, 25, and 26.
I'd like to discuss 24.
24. Okay. Page 12, we have CRC 27, 28, 29, and 30. Okay, moving on, page 13, we have CRC 31. Okay. Page 14, CRC 32, 33, 34, and 35. We're good. Page 15, CRC 36. Okay. Page 16, CRC 37, 38, and 39.
39.
Okay. Page 17, CRC 40, 41, and 42. Okay. Page 18, CRC 43. Okay. CRC, page 19, CRC 44 and 45. Page 20, CRC 46 and 47. Page 21, we have CRC 48 and 49. Page 22, we have CRC 50 and 51. Page 23 is CRC 52. Page 24 is CRC 53 and 54.
54 is continued.
Continued. And then CRC 25, we have, page 25, CRC 55 and CRC 56. These are also continued. All right. Page 26, we have CRC 57 and 58.
Continued.
Okay.
Continued.
Continued. That's right. Page 27, we have CRC 59 and 60. We're good? Okay. Page 28, CRC 61. Okay. Page 29, CRC 62. Looks like we're good. Page 30, CRC 63 and 64. Okay. Page 31, CRC 65. Okay. Page 32, CRC 66. And then Council Motion 25-0118.
Special.
Okay. Special? Okay. Page 33, Council Motion 26-0426-S2.
I'm sorry, my things are, the Lacers proposed charter reform? Was that on the previous page? 26-0489-S1?
That's on page 33, which is the page that we're on right now.
It's page we're on, okay, so I'm calling that one special.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my page number's up here.
And so it was S1 that you wanted special? Or-
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Page 34, motions 26-0489 S2, S3, and S4.
S3?
S3. All right. Page 35, we have council motions 26-0489-S5, S6, S7, S8, and S9.
S4?
Oh, where's S4? Oh, S4 is on the previous page. S4 being the Neighborhood Appeals Commission?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. S5, S6, S7, S8, S9, we're good? Okay.
I think in conjunction with the neighborhood appeals question, I would call S9.
S9. Yeah. Yes, those are connected.
To be
Okay.
considered with CRC 7.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay. Page 36, we have Council Motion 26-0637 and 26-0638. Okay. Page 37, 26-0647. Page 38, Council Motion 26-0654, 0656, and 0658.
58 and 0647, my apologies.
47. Okay, we'll back up.
Mr. Chair?
58 and 59, apologies.
58. You jumped ahead of me.
Sorry.
Page 39, Council Motion 26-0659 special. Okay. And then I understand personnel number 1 is continued to Monday.
Yes.
And then on page 40, personnel 2, 3, and 4 are also continued. Okay. And then on page 41, rules number 1, rules number 2, rules number 3. Which one? 1 and 2 are continued. Okay, very good. And then page 42, rules number 4 and rules number 5. Okay, we're good. We've run through the table. We'll go back to the top.
Rule number 4.
Special. Okay. Very good. Okay, going back to the top, we've already disposed of CRC 1. So on page 4 then, that brings us to CRC 4, increase the Department of Recreation Parks charter mandated minimum.
Well, you had don't we have CRC 1? Oh, but you got my language before, so you're counting. I don't have to read it again.
I'm
CRC
sorry.
1?
Oh, yes,
I read it, so we're good to go?
You've already read it into the record.
Okay.
We're good on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at 4 then.
Okay.
Yeah, Councilmember Yaroslavsky has language and explanation.
Yeah, so I'd like to introduce, my recommendation is the following. So present to voters in November 2026 a charter amendment to do the following. 1, increase the RAP budget allocation by the percentage necessary to increase over the next 4 years the increased allocation by an additional $175 million, but as a percentage, so that over time, so in 4 years, that's $175 million, whatever that percentage is, and then it will grow over time. Does that make sense? So my team, I think, has that percentage. Give me a sec. So I'm going to keep going, but I'll get you that exact percentage. So 2, phase this increase in over 4 years. 3, allow suspension of up to 30% of the cumulative charter mandated funds if the city declares a fiscal emergency. 4, instruct CAO and RAP to report with recommendations for setting a time-limited requirement of a percentage of this increase to be dedicated to capital improvements. And also instruct RAP and the CAO to coordinate a working group to engage the county in preparation for a possible 2028 ballot measure in order to ensure a fair share of funding for the city in any county-wide measure, or a working group to do a city measure to identify revenue for our park systems and programs. And I want to just say a little bit about this. I understand why the recommendation is there, Mr. CAO and CLA. And As the budget chair, I understand the need for us to have flexibility, but also I'm a mom of 3 kids, and my boys play Little League at Pan Pacific Park, and we spend a lot of our time, spent all of the spring at Pan Pacific Park. And the bathrooms, the facilities, it's completely unacceptable. And it's not what families and Angelenos reasonably expect, nor should they expect from our park system. So I don't need to be convinced that our parks need more resources. They absolutely do. The department and its partners have done serious work to show the scale of the need, and I very much appreciate that work and agree with the goal of getting WRAP the resources it needs to both maintain our parks and improve our facilities and provide programming that families, including mine, depend on. But as stewards of the city budget, we also have to look at the whole picture. This recommendation doesn't create new money. It sets aside existing money. Every dollar we lock into one purpose through charter is a dollar we don't have for something else, like broken sidewalks, failed streetlights, street repairs, homelessness services, public safety, and other basic city responsibilities. And I think we need to be honest about how that plays out in future budgets. Some will say take it from LAPD. I understand why people go there first. It's the largest department in the general fund, and outside of the budget process, trade-offs are much more abstract. But about 92% of LAPD's budget is salaries. That doesn't mean there are no savings to find, but I don't think this council, when faced with the actual choices, is prepared necessarily to reduce LAPD by the amount needed to fund a doubling of the WRAP minimum. Might be, but might not. Even eliminating every single dollar of non-salary funding in LAPD wouldn't get us there. So the more likely outcome is that the money comes from other priorities like sidewalks, street trees, street lighting, street resurfacing, where we've already cut to the bone and where residents are already telling us every single day that we're falling short. I think all of us want better parks. I also don't want to write a charter provision that promises beautiful parks while leaving the city with fewer tools to fix everything else residents are asking us to fix. So I support a step up that gets our department closer to where it needs to be. I'm supportive of the revised approach that would add roughly $175 million, getting to that additional $175 million within 4 years, so a ramp up to 175. But I don't want it to sit at 175. I want us to figure out what that 175 is as an additional percentage, and then add that to the existing charter allocated percentage. I also think we need to be more creative about how we fund parks. Right now, LA leaves so much money on the table. Other cities have done much, much more with public-private partnerships, ground leases, concessions, sponsorships, and revenue-generating uses that support public park systems without raising taxes on working people. And part of why I'm so focused on eliminating 104G, I think it's the first step in doing more of that work. We've always been told by the city attorney's office that we can't do things like put logos on uniforms to raise money because of 104G. So we need to be exploring those options seriously too. I don't think the answer can always be to raise taxes or fight over the same limit of dollars. We need to grow the pie, especially for a department with assets, land, and public spaces that people deeply, deeply value. And so I think that what this does is it's as much as we can give while still, I think, being plausibly able to say that we're going to be able to fund other city services at the basic level that Angelenos expect. And I very much hope and expect that advocates will be working with us on additional resources for 2028 and beyond. So that's a commitment on my part. And I know that we were going to try and do something for the 26 ballot. Unfortunately, that fell apart. But I think that just moving money from other city departments to the Parks Department without figuring out how to grow the pie solves for one thing, but sort of robs Peter to pay Paul. So that's my recommendation, colleagues. I'm hoping I can get a second.
Second. Any other questions, comments on this one? Councilmember Rahman?
I just wanted to understand the procedure you wanted to follow for discussion here. I have a few questions. I think, I'm very supportive of an increase to our funding for parks. I do think putting it in the charter is important, although I appreciate the recommendation in the CLA report to keep it as an ordinance, but I do fear that parks funding is often the first to go when other priorities are up for discussion, and I don't think as a city we can do that any further. But I also want to understand, Councilmember Yaroslavsky, what changes between our existing allocation and our, and the proposed allocation in this, or where your changes fall, and I would request, I think it's 0.485%, but I'm not sure.
0.0485 of assessed property value.
But I would love to be able to have a little bit more of a discussion on
Absolutely.
what that looks like year on year, how it compares to the proposal from the commission and the proposal from the CLA, and just allow us to.
Yeah, I think that that's important. The idea is that so the commission proposed a doubling. This is more like increasing it by 50% with a commitment that we figure out how to bring new revenues in for parks to get to the full doubling within, 2 to 4 years. Because, doing it in the charter is moving money around. It's not creating new money, so it's coming from somewhere, right? And so the recommendation from the CAO and the CLA was an ordinance getting to up to 150 million over a period of years. But as we know, an ordinance can be changed fairly easily. I like the idea of having it embedded in the charter for all the reasons we've talked about and know, and what members of the public have talked about. But I don't think we can, as budget chair, I'm looking at sort of the next 4 years. We have convention center starting to come due, anywhere from $120 million to $170 million a year for 30 years out of our general fund. And then this is going to come in on top of that. And that's combined about $500 million that there's no new money to cover those things. And so I think what this does is it's enough that it will generate urgency for us to figure out how to grow the general fund responsibly, but it isn't so burdensome that we're going to have to be in 4 years laying people off in our street services or DOT or any other department that provides core city services.
And if we have RAP here at some point, I'm not sure again what the
I
procedure
thought I
you'd like
saw
to follow.
the leader of Rec and Parks. Oh, yeah, see, you were trying to sneak out.
May I ask a clarifying question to Councilwoman Yaroslavsky? So just so that CAO and CLA understand, so the 0.485% of assessed value that you've identified, that would equate to about $175 million.
Correct.
But the $175 million, if I'm understanding you correctly, would ramp up.
Correct.
It's not $175 million after.
Next year, no.
So it would ramp up over a period of how many years?
4.
4 years. And
or whatever this body and the larger council decides. I'm not trying to be prescriptive here. I think that this is going to be a larger conversation here, but also on the council floor. But I think that gives us enough time to manage the budget in a way that we can get there over 4 years. It would be very hard to do it overnight. An extra $175 million is a large amount of money when you're looking at what's available in our general fund. And so as a percentage of our budget, it's small, but most of what we, as we all know around this horseshoe, it's salaries. And so we don't want to fire people to have nicer parks because the people we'd be firing are doing core city service work. So we need that time to figure out how to manage that additional obligation. And so I would say, come back, please, with a proposal for how we ramp up. And I don't want it to be teeny tiny in the first 3 years, right? So gradually increasing over time, but significant over the next 4 years until we get to the full 175 additional.
okay, and again, just so that we understand, so the percentage that we would tack onto, so it's basically 1/4 of the 0.0485 that you're talking about, right? Or are we fixated on the 175 million?
No, I think
So
whatever the 175 number equates to as a percentage.
today.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I think that's clear.
Because as the budget grows, that percentage will also grow. It's not going to stay stagnant at 175 million in perpetuity. We don't want that. We want it to be something that grows over time, that you can bond against, that you can do a capital improvement and investment plan with.
So if I could, Mr. Chair, and Madam Budget Chair. I think if we could provide you a financial analysis of what that would look like, so we know exactly what it is that that you're voting on, and the impacts over time and the impacts into the future. Again, I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. If we're coming back on Monday, we could probably get you something by then. I certainly would recommend, under any circumstances, we should do the financial impact analysis so that you see what we're actually voting on. And if we needed to do that by Monday, we could do it by Monday.
Yeah, sorry, Council President, I don't want to step, but I think what we're asking for is come back with something that gets us to 0.0485 over 4 years. And it will be hard. This is not an easy thing to do, but our parks are wildly underinvested in, and I'm tired of them coming last.
Right. I think there's consensus on this committee, at least, the broader council's another discussion. I think there's consensus that we want to make a firm commitment to Rec and Parks going forward. We want it to grow over time. We want it to grow as the city grows. I think what the budget chair has put forward, what it mainly does is provide us an on-ramp to do that in a way that's gradual enough that doesn't create budget shock. I mean, and just to put it anecdotally, if in either of the last 2 years we had to come up with an extra $175 million, we would have laid off a lot of people. Like there would have been no other way to do it, or make them go work for parks. I mean, that's just what would have happened. And so, we're trying to find a on-ramp to that without busting the budget. And again, I think sometimes these proposals are made out of context, and which is what I think you're speaking to, Mr. CAO. They're not made in the context of the reality of the budget, right? And so we're trying to get something that's closer to, but that makes the ironclad commitment.
So if I may, and to the CAO's point, this one is critical, we get it, we understand your direction, but if we could come back with the understanding so that we're all clear, because city attorney will need the language to draft this. If we can come back on Monday with the exact language so that we all know what you are adopting. So we will come back with the fiscal impact on Monday, just so that we're clear as to what that ramp up looks like and what the additional amount would be, as well as what the go forward would be after that 4-year period, because that's also a bit unclear as well.
A general principle you will hear me say throughout this process is better to do it right than to do it fast. But on this one's been studied a good amount. So if we can for sure get it back Monday, at least the chair is okay with reconsidering it on Monday if the maker of the motion is fine with it. All right, yeah.
I just wanted to ask 2 questions. One is, when you say fiscal impact, is it just looking at what is the percentage of dollars per year that are expected, or is it an analysis in the context of the broader budget and the implications it would have on other priorities? And 2, I wanted to ask Rec and Parks to weigh in on the original numbers were related to a parks needs assessment document which was put forward. So I think it would be also useful to understand this number in the context of what kinds of needs it might address. And I think that would also be helpful for the conversation.
Why don't you go first?
Good afternoon. Jimmy Kim, General Manager, Recreation and Parks. As you all know, and I'll just, I had something prepared here, but I'll just kind of talk about, the impacts of our budget and kind of where we've been at. Since 2009, we've never, we haven't really increased the funding to this department. As a matter of fact, we've been about 40% of our operational budget goes back to the city. And there's not a week that goes by where I get a call from a council office for us to do more. And I try to do as best as I can with the budget that I have. But the simple fact of the matter is it's breaking the backs of my staff. Just with a increase in charter mandate funds that's guaranteed to this department, there's so much that we could do, whether it be project delivery, whether it be maintenance of our facilities. As a matter of fact, all of our parks are closed on Sundays, and that was due to the Great Recession, and we never recovered from that. So just to have, the recommendation of this increase, however small it may be, will 100% allow us to deliver more services. And I just wanted to, thank you all for your support, and I would urge this council to move it to the full council so everybody could weigh in on it, because it affects every single council office. Like I said, and I'll close with this, there really does not go a week where I don't get a call from a council office, even more now because of all the World Cup activities, where we are asked to do more with what we have, and we try to do it. I think every year I get the same. You guys are, the can-do department. We were the can-do department during COVID. We were the can-do department during the World Series, and we're the can-do department for the World Cup, and we will be the can-do department for the Olympics when it comes. But we can't do everything with what we have, so I urge the support of this council in those funds. Just kidding.
And thank you. And Councilmember Rahman and the entire committee, I just, as I said the last time we met here on this, I do want to emphasize that our position has nothing to do with the subject matter, and it is entirely within, and we entirely support the council's authority to direct city funds in the manner in which you choose to direct. Our position has been and will continue to be that an allocation of resources, particularly at this level. We're not talking about understanding that the need of the department is enormous. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, ongoing, increasing forever, and we strongly urge that be made within the context of the larger budget and the context of other priorities. What will we spend less on? So to answer your question, Councilmember Rahman, the impact analysis that you will receive will include what the actual dollar amount is, the percentage increase, but also importantly, the impact on our projected structural deficit. And we are facing a structural deficit still, even though the changes the council made did improve our position somewhat. We still are facing over $160 million structural deficit next year. The following year is over $100 million. So to increase the charter mandated minimum is to provide the funding to parks, yes, but by increasing our deficit. It's money that we don't have. So we do need to provide that, and we would just ask that you make the final decision within the context of the greater whole and the other impacts that it will trigger.
Great, that's all. I mean, I was wondering what the fiscal impact would be, because there's one version of it where it's just the table that you provided in the report, which is just an analysis of how much the money goes up every year. But what you're saying is you'll be able to provide us that analysis plus the context of the broader budget in which this increase sits.
Correct.
Right, that's great. And I wanted to ask Mr. Kim a follow-up question, which is, if this allocation were to go up, would some of the costs that are currently being passed off to other departments, like the Parks security budget, which is now on LAPD's budget plate, is that something that Parks could also take over? And if you could identify if there's any other places where Parks are not paying for things that other departments are paying for that they could actually take on if they were to have this increase, I think that would also be useful in understanding this.
Yes, thank you for that question, Jimmy Kim, General Manager. So we will certainly be able to take on the gate closure program that's been very much a discussion around the horseshoe. There are project delivery where BOE has taken on some of those roles for this department.
Right.
We would be able to take on those responsibilities as well. So there are some cost saving to other departments where we would be able to now take on those roles.
I think for Monday's discussion, it would be useful just to have a sense of that. Thank you.
Can you do that by Monday?
Yes, we can.
All right. Anything else on this, members? All right, it looks like we're going to continue this until Monday, pending a report from Mr. Szabo and Mr. Kim on the aforementioned items. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, and there were a couple other elements in the members' recommendation, so we will take a look at those as well. There was an instruction about suspension in the case of a fiscal emergency. There was an instruction related to dedicated funds for capital improvements, and there was a report, an instruction for staff to do some work with the county to identify other sources of funds. So we'll work with Ms. Yaroslavsky to get better understanding of those details.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. So the next item, that is continued until Monday. So the next item is CRC 6.
Mr. Lee?
Do you mind if I?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So just before we move on, I just wanted to take a look, and I'm not understanding it. Before I call it special, item 32, my request to eliminate the use of certain funds for penalties. Is that been taken out?
CRC 32?
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and get back into the report. CRC 32, the recommendation in our report was to present that to voters. So you would like to call that special for discussion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Okay.
The time is, the meeting, please don't disrupt the meeting, Mr. Greg Akili. I would hate very much to throw you out today. The meeting will be at 1 o'clock on Monday.
Great. So we're ready, we're moving forward?
Let's move.
Okay.
It's 3:45.
CRC 6 replaces the City 7 Area Planning Commissions.
All right, I have a recommendation to read. Present to voters in November 2026 a charter.
The commission recommendation.
Yes, a charter amendment consistent with CRC 6 to restructure APCs into a new appeals commission and allow it to consider issues de novo in appeals. Also, note that I would like to incorporate the expansion to 7 members as outlined in the Rodriguez motion, 26-0489 S4, which I call special, which the idea is that we do what's in that here and move that item.
Okay, very good.
All right.
I have next on page 5, CRC 7 was called special. Creates a 30-day time limit for City Planning Commission and Neighborhood Appeals Commission to concur.
We had 7, is that you?
That was me. Sorry, if you could give me one moment on this. If I could come back to this one.
Okay.
I have a question for the next one, CRC 8.
Okay.
But you had that.
Yeah, I had CRC 8, and my motion was just to present to voters in November 2026 a charter amendment consistent with CRC 8. That's it.
So, and I had a question on this, which
Okay.
was the CLA report had mentioned that this could be accomplished through the municipal code, but there was no, I just wanted to understand the process through which this could be accomplished through our municipal code.
CLA staff are coming up to answer your questions on that.
So, Councilwoman,
the question was how you can accomplish this?
For CRC 8, CLA report said this could be accomplished through municipal code rather than charter amendment, but
Yes.
didn't specify the pathway, so I just wanted to understand how it could, if it
So,
could.
yeah,
and-
the
and-
mechanism, Councilwoman, would be an ordinance. So you would do that via ordinance rather than a charter amendment. In the report, we noted that the concern was that currently the provision is that it deems a general plan amendment approved by city council if the council does not act within 75 days. The concern is that the proposal would make it a disapproval of the GPA. Sorry,
Isn't it the other way
the
around?
council's failure to act right now, just to be clear, is deemed a disapproval. So with the amendment, it would be an approval.
So if the council doesn't act, it goes through,
Right.
under what's proposed here.
Yes, so
Got it.
currently the provision is that if the council does not act, it is deemed a disapproval of the GPA within the 75 days.
Come on up, Mr. Bertoni, Councilwoman.
No, I'm sorry. So, but you're saying that we could change the municipal code to flip the meaning rather than doing a charter amendment?
Yes, that is correct.
And you want to do a charter?
Yeah, I want to do a charter amendment.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's it. I just wanted to clarify that.
Got it.
Okay,
All right.
great. Okay.
Did you
So
figure
that
out- did you figure out
disposes of CRC 8, the
Hold
recommend.
hold on. I want to give us, I don't want to go out of order. We got it. Let's give a minute to get to number 7.
Okay.
7?
7.
Councilmember Yarsowski.
I can speak to 7 if that's okay. So I think this is important. In LA, we know that land use authority is one of the clearest places where council power shows up, and the current process creates, I think, too many veto points and too much uncertainty and too much opportunity for politics to distort planning decisions. I think it creates opportunities for corruption, and it gives outsized power to people to organize to stop housing even in the middle of a housing crisis. So I think we need to talk seriously about land use authority and how our charter currently drags that process out. So I'd like to see LA move toward a clearer process, one that gives applicants and communities more certainty and puts responsibility on the city and the mayor's office to make the case when a project shouldn't move forward. So I think we should move this forward.
And I would agree.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go. We can move.
You want to say that into the mic?
Sure, I would agree.
Great.
There's widespread agreement on that matter.
Next would be CRC 10, which is called special.
I have a recommendation that reads, present to voters in November 2026 a charter amendment to accomplish the goal of CRC 10 to streamline quasi-judicial decision-making. I would like to request the city attorney consult with the Department of City Planning to identify the details that can be moved into ordinance, including those pertaining to the Office of the Zoning Administrator, to create more flexibility for the Planning Department. Mr. Bertoni, I imagine you're going to need to be at the table for this one.
Oh, and I'll second your.
Yeah, second. Do you have any comments on this one?
No, I believe the intent is clear from the chair. I think that it is. There's detail in this section of the charter that actually specifically lists findings for such as a conditional use permit and a variance, and also the standard of review, which is erred and abused, and that those would be moved to the municipal code, where almost every other city in the state puts them in their municipal code, and then add some clarity in terms of the breadth of quasi-judicial decision-making. It's not just a couple narrow ones, such as CUP or variances. There's many, many more of that. So we'd really just give a more clarity in terms of the role of the planning department and quasi-judicial in a broader sense.
Got it. Thank you. That's the concept. It's been moved and seconded. Anything else on this?
No?
All right. There's very loud silence on this side of the table, so I just want to make sure.
Just here to answer your questions.
Okay.
Just
all right.
like Plum.
All right. Yes. All right. Got it. We can move.
Okay, next to CRC 12, which is called special.
Which is what?
12 is called special?
Yes, this relates to council expansion.
Yes, so this was recommended for further study. I would still like to consider this for the ballot in November 2026. The CLA report identified that implementation details required further study. And I would just say that County Measure G, which expanded the the number of supervisorial districts, offered the opportunity for voters, for the county to study the process of expansion and how it would work after voters approved the expansion as a broad idea, and I would recommend that we do the same. I know that there are some differences of opinion here, but I would like to move this forward to this ballot.
Mr. Lee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, would have a large, obviously, fiscal impact to the city of Los Angeles. We have no financial study on how this would impact. This is something that is, going to make huge changes here on so many different levels that I believe that this does need to be studied further before we move forward, Mr. Chair.
All right.
And I guess I would just say in response, this was actually one of the original questions that led to the formation of the Charter Reform Commission, because in the Ad Hoc Committee on Governance Reform, this question came up. There were real questions about fiscal sustainability and how it would operate. It was punted to the Charter Reform Commission. Charter Reform Commission made this recommendation, and now we're here 3 days or 4 days before 5 days before the deadline to put this on the ballot, requesting again further study. And I understand that this requires a lot of study, and and maybe the members of this committee, I think, have real questions about this, which I also understand. But I will also say that we've been discussing this for 3 years, and we have not had the further study that this required. And I am fairly frustrated, and I think that there's a lot of residents in Los Angeles who care about this issue, who've come and shown up for the Ad Hoc Committee on Governance Reform discussions, and now for these Charter Reform Commission discussions, and now to our Ad Hoc Committee again, who are all frustrated about this. And I guess my question to all of you would be, what, if we require further study, what is it going to take, and why haven't we done that yet, and can we ask for that to be done on an expedited timeline?
Yeah. Can I speak to that, Council President?
Sure.
So I appreciate what Councilwoman Rahman is saying and agree that there's been a lot of talk about study. We haven't done it yet. I want to be honest with where I am. I was and have been very skeptical of this idea. But when a lot of smart people who I respect, including people who have studied LA government for years, keep pointing to the same structural problem, I take that seriously. We've had a 15-member council for a century. Each council district today contains as many people as Toledo, Ohio. I don't know if Toledo, Ohio is very big, but that's the number. To me, one of the strongest arguments for expansion is access to power. Running for council in LA requires an enormous amount of money, organization, political infrastructure. When each district is this large, the barrier to entry gets higher. More often than not, the clearest path belongs to people who are wealthy and or well-connected, and that's not the sign of a healthy democracy. So I am open to expansion. I just want to say that. But I also think we really need to be honest about what expansion does and doesn't solve. Where I struggle the most is with the comparisons to other cities. New York and Chicago, for example, have larger councils. That's true. But they also have different governance structures, different distributions of power between the mayor and council, and different land use systems. LA is its own system, for better or worse. We started with a weak mayor system. We gave more authority to the mayor's office in the 90s when we did this last time. But in, of course, a very Angelino way, we didn't go all the way. We have a strong council in some areas, a mayor with significant executive authority in others. an independent elected city attorney, an independently elected controller, and a land use process where individual council offices hold enormous practical influence. I don't think it makes sense to expand the council if all we're doing is changing the number of seats. I think we should also ask what those seats are supposed to do. Are we keeping the same district level authority and making it smaller? Are we moving away from day-to-day management and toward more oversight? Are we changing land use? Are we changing the role of the mayor? And most importantly, do the answers to any of these questions require additional charter amendments that we aren't thinking about yet? So I would like to see these questions answered, a process that focuses specifically on council structure and related governance reforms. That could mean a dedicated commission on this issue or a comprehensive study by someone like UCLA or SC or both, because I don't think we would be able to pick one given the politics of this body. I know that that's frustrating for people who have invested so much in this process. I understand that, but I don't know that we serve the public well by sending voters a structural change before we've fully explained what kind of government we're asking them to approve. And so that's kind of where I am, and it's probably unsatisfactory to many.
Thank you, Councilmember Yaroslavsky and Councilmember Lee and Rahman. What I would add to the discussion is actually the city of LA has been, by my recollection, been discussing this for 27 years. It isn't just 2 years, because this was on the ballot and got defeated by the voters in '99. And that ballot, that process to get to the ballot was actually much longer than the one we've gone through now. Yes. That historical record is there, all that information is there. And I do note it's precisely because of the process that the county's going through, in acknowledgement that the county said, let's vote on it and then figure it out later, is essentially what they did. Watching that process is precisely what makes me say, this council needs to look harder at that before throwing it out to voters who have, frankly, and again, with tremendous respect for the electorate, they have even less information than we do about how it works now, how it could work in the future, what the challenges are, all of the things that Councilmember Yaroslavsky said. So I think the onus is upon us to do the work, which is why this issue and ranked choice votings are the reasons why I'm proposing an ad hoc committee. Because they deserve review. They deserve, just at basic, a financial report. How much does it cost? And how much does it, how would we pay for it in relation to where we are budget-wise, particularly in the last 2 years? And so I am, again, absolutely opposed to going now. I think, again, my song of the day, better to do it right than to do it fast. And, frankly, this process is way faster than we went to voters last time, and the voters sent that rejection back unfulfilled. And again, I think, again, in theory, I believe we should have a bigger council, given the size of the city and all the other things. But also, in theory, a bigger council makes the mayor more powerful than the mayor would be now. In every city that has a large council, the mayor is vastly more powerful than the situation that we have in LA today, where there's a good amount of balance between the mayor and the council, which is why there's all this focus on the council. So again, to me, a lot of questions to be answered. I want and intend this to be one of the main topics of the ad hoc committee that will stand up. Mr. Lee.
No, Mr. Chair, I just want to thank you for bringing up that, because I believe it's actually been defeated, extended the council twice before. And, we're making a lot of technical changes to the charter that obviously is about better governance and moving, the city forward. I just want to make sure we take a look at this, because this is something the voters want. I know in my district, paying for more politicians, they don't believe it's the answer. And we should be able to take a look at this and make sure that this is not some poison pill that could derail the entire discussion about charter agreements. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for bringing that up, because I think that is an important point for us to take a look at and to study further into, to get this on if it does make sense to get on a future ballot. I think we can still make the timelines, after the next, to get to the 32 along with the county. I appreciate your comments and hope that we can study this a little bit further before we move on to the voters.
All right, Councilmember Rahman?
And I, again, sincerely appreciate all of your very reasonable comments about this, and I have many of the same questions. We asked many of these same questions when we were in the ad hoc committee on governance reform 4 years ago, right? That was 2022 to 2023, or maybe it was 2023.
23 to 24.
In 23. And so I pushed this knowing that there would be pushback from this committee and with questions that I agree with. How much is it going to cost? How does power change? How does land use change? On the land use question, I do want to say that very steadily through my time on the council, through my time on the Plum Committee, and through the work that we've been doing on this committee, I've been pushing for land use discretion to be more limited in scope for the council. So we have actually made progress on that issue parallel to this question. But I agree that there's a lot of unanswered questions out there. I pushed the point today not to make everyone late on a Friday to go home, but really just to say, how do we actually arrive at an answer to this? Like, what does a real process look like? Because this was, the Charter Reform Commission was supposed to be the real process to arrive at those answers. And here we are, a year and a half later, in the exact same place. Or 3 years later, in the exact same place. And so I would really just ask this committee and the full council to grapple with that. Expansion is not the answer to a lot of the problems that we have in LA. It's not. But it is an answer to one piece of it, which is your accessibility to your local elected representative and your opportunities for better representation. And I do believe that those are good goals that we should be working towards. I just want to make sure that we have a clear pathway.
Yeah.
I thought we had one before, and we don't.
Yeah,
We didn't.
And I again, appreciate all of your comments, Councilmember Rahman, and was there in the committee with you and was around. I was there with you in the committee and remember all the questions that we put forward. The one thing I would say, I would just push back a little bit on what you said about we're in the same place. We're not in the same place. We were in the ad hoc committee. We didn't come out of that committee even with a number. Okay, and then we didn't come out with a number, we came out with a range, right? And then the commission got us to an actual number, because to me, you can't study if you don't have the number. If you don't know what number you're studying, or unless you say, let's study 5 numbers, right? So we've moved some, and again, it is painfully slow, I will acknowledge. It is slow, but again, for the 8th time, and I'm gonna keep doing it, better to do it right than to do it fast, and I think we're still a little bit of ways from doing it right. I think we've exhausted conversation on this one and can move.
Okay, great. Next is CRC 13.
All right, I call that one. I think more than one of us called that one. So I'll defer. Councilmember Rahman.
I only had one. I wanted to, if we move this forward, to take out the development of the capital improvement program from the CFO's responsibilities, especially if we're planning to do the work on the Department of Public Works.
That's right. Yeah, I had basically the same concept.
The idea would be to just leave it silent and it can be determined later.
Yeah, if the Public Works Director moves forward, then that
Perfect.
person will do it.
Yeah, that was the same thing.
Okay.
All right, so we can move off of that one.
Okay, next is CRC 24. I believe this one was called special by Councilmember Rahman.
I don't, is there any other support on this committee for this?
Which number are we on?
This is for reducing the number of signatures for the petition. No, okay, thank you all. We can move on.
Mr. Lee?
I've done my best.
Any support for lowering the number of signatures to be on, to get on the ballot?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Is this a motion?
I think we had this conversation last time. Thank you.
All right, next is CRC 32, which was called by Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I just wanted to make clear, I thought we made it clear in the last committee, the concerns that this body had regarding being able to prohibit the use of certain funds to pay for violations, and that, I had huge concerns about this being, used as lawfare for the ethics committee to, force people into settlements that they would not necessarily agree to. I have no problem with increasing the penalties and moving this forward, but that piece really concerns me.
Okay.
And to add to Mr. Lee's question, and I'll note that Mr. McCosker is still sitting here. So do we know the history of how that prohibition for using, how you pay for the fine, how that came about? Because it seems to create more of a hazard than a protection. Is it's one of those things that's here today that doesn't make much sense today, but it probably made sense when it was done. I don't know if anybody, you guys are looking around, so that means no one knows how it got that way. Okay, all right, move on. We can move on.
We could, I don't know if the ethics department is listening, but perhaps they can send someone
Well, they were
to address it.
agnostic. They were agnostic on it the other day in the committee.
To Mr. Harris Dawson's question about history.
Because you create a situation where if I have to raise money for the fine, suddenly I don't have a limit and I don't have prohibited sources. Whereas in my campaign, I have both of those things. So it just seems backwards. That's all. But we can move taking Mr. Lee's proposal.
I was going to say, would the committee like to amend this recommendation to remove this?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course. Okay. And with that, we're moving on to CRC 39, related to language access.
I've got present to voters in 2026 a charter amendment to strengthen language access in section 103 and elsewhere as appropriate. We want to address the CLA's concern. We want to make sure that this amendment is clear, that any specific obligations would be created in an ordinance rather than in the language in the charter.
Okay. Apologies, I'm going through the list.
Would be number 20, page 32.
Page 30.
Would be the next one.
Okay. With that, we've disposed of the CRC recommendations, and now we will be moving on to the council motions. The council motion that was called special was 25-0118, which has to do with the public access investment plan.
All right, I'm the one who called this one special. Under the watchful and concerned eye of our good friend, Mr. McCosker, I'm going to recommend that we move this one to the ad hoc committee on charter review. Yeah, to move it to the next one. One on the public access, the one that all the people from the board and the All right, any discussion, members?
So this is further study is required?
All right. All right.
Okay, and with that, we will move on to 26-0489-S1, which are the proposed charter reforms from Lacers.
Again, recommend we move that to the ad hoc charter committee.
Thank you. Next will be 26-0489-S3, which has to do with the schedule of fee studies.
This is just to concur with the CLA that we have a report back on actions we can take outside of the charter, although that's the recommendation I'm going to put forward, but I do worry about doing this outside the charter because we could have already done this yeah, we could have already done this and somehow the council doesn't. So I want to leave open the question that we put some of these automatic fee studies in the charter, but, you know, we could look at that later.
Okay. Next is 26-0489-S4, which has to do with the Neighborhood Appeals Commission expansion from 5 to 7 members. I believe this was part of the discussion we had earlier with the
Yeah.
Neighborhood Appeals Commission, and
Yeah, we took care of that.
Okay. I'll prove it in that context. I'll include it in that context. And then there was another one that has to do with the Neighborhood Appeals Commission, 26-0489-S9. This was taken care of with the Neighborhood Appeals Commission item, and this was disposed of to include members from each of the area planning commissions.
My only request for all of the planning items is that are we going to be voting on them today, or just, we are?
We're going to vote on what we finished today and then what we do.
I would only ask that planning be able to clarify how this would change the process for approving housing. That's all.
Okay.
For us and for the full council if needed.
All right.
Okay. The next item we've had called special is 26-0647, which has to do with requiring appointees to boards and commissions to submit their ethics disclosure forms prior to a council vote.
Recommendation that we refer this to the future ad hoc committee on charter reform.
Okay. The next council file is 26-0658, which is a prohibition on an appointed caretaker or appointee from seeking election to the appointed council district for 5 years.
Ad hoc.
Okay, next is 26-0659, which increases the local residency requirements on the Board of Airport Commissioners to 3 members within the area surrounding LAX and 2 members within the area surrounding Van Nuys.
I have a recommendation to prepare the ballot measure for 2026 to remove the current geographic membership requirements and prepare an ordinance implementing at least 3 commissioners of the board that must be within the LAX area and at least 2 within the Van Nuys airport area.
Sorry, you said 2 in the valley, right? Not 2
Yeah,
in the
Van
Nuys
Nuys.
airport. Okay. Okay, that brings us to rules recommendation number 4, which revises Charter Section 242A to move the council conduct of meetings section to the administrative code.
I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. Where are you?
Sorry, this is rules number 4. It's on page 42.
Can I ask a clarifying question about the location of where the people who serve?
Mhm.
Is it in Van Nuys or is it in the Van Nuys flight path area?
My language doesn't comment on that.
Pardon?
My language doesn't comment on that.
Okay.
As someone who lives in the LAX flight path, I would be in favor of flight path.
Yeah, I will just say Council District 5 is in a portion of the flight path, and it's been sort of a challenge to make sure that, so I don't want to screw things up here, but just sort of acknowledge that.
Yeah, you don't have to. How many times have I said, hold on, while the plane goes over when we're on the phone?
Yeah, and I just do want to flag here some of the challenges that we've had with the commission, the Citizens Commission, the CACs, and representation on them. And just, I have a very vocal constituency that cares about this issue and would just want to understand the implications of this a little bit more. That's all. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hugely,
4 and
hugely,
5,
hugely.
and others, but.
Right,
yeah.
and 6
Yes.
and 8 and 11.
So, yeah, but 6 is the closest and directly impacted, obviously. But also 4 and 5 have flight path issues.
So let's move this, we'll move this forward to the council, understanding that we're going to have to probably tighten this up.
Great.
Going forward.
Council President, if I, just one
Sir.
clarification. In the current section of the charter, which designates some geographic restrictions, it does say that that geography can be defined by ordinance. So that's something that can be maintained in the current language that will allow you to define what that area means by ordinance, but it would still maintain the requirements of 3 and 2 if that's what you're moving to the full council. Just
Yeah. I mean, look, I like the sturdiness of the charter on this question, although I do recognize, as you've raised this, that flight paths can change. So in the time I've been on the council, suddenly part of CD10 is in the flight path now that wasn't before. So that would lend itself to an ordinance, but
well, yeah, and so to that point, like it does say, there must be a member from the LAX area as that area is defined by ordinance. Okay.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, again, we're going to have to, this one needs some work.
Okay, and with that, we'll move on to rules number 4, which has to do the council's conduct of meetings, moving that charter section into the administrative code.
Somebody call that special?
Yes, Ms. Yaroslavsky called it special.
Conduct of when the meetings happen.
Yes, I would love for that to be in the admin code.
Okay.
Okay.
And not the charter.
Removing it from the charter, putting it in the admin code. Can you remind us of the number? It's how many meetings we have?
The number of meetings?
Yeah. But what number, because we're
this
lost
is
track.
Rules number 4, which is on page number 42.
42, okay. All right.
And I believe withholding some of the items that we mentioned earlier that were going to be continued to Monday.
That's
the
right.
Matters have been disposed of.
That's right. Huh? Rule 5? Yes, this is actually a very important one. Committee recommendation rules number 5, to make, the amendment would be to make equal both the time allowed to gather signatures and the amount of signatures that you need, as Mr. Kwan pointed out in public comment. So, members, this is if somebody wants to make a ballot initiative removing a law, that they have to get the same amount of signatures as you do to make a law, and that you have the same time limitation.
I strongly support that.
Yes, as we just experienced painfully on this council. So that's to correct that. Sir?
Just to provide some information on that last point.
Yes.
The charter currently provides 30 days to gather the signatures to, enough signatures to qualify a referendum. And that's because ordinances become effective 31 days after publication. So there's if the instruction is to increase the time to gather signatures for referendum, then that is, that'd be complicating the effective date of ordinances. Initiatives.
I don't understand what you just said.
So this is the instruction on gathering signatures for initiatives and referendum and to equalize the percentage of signatures required. And you were also asking what synchronizing the time required for both initiatives and for referendums.
Yeah.
Currently, initiatives proponents are given 120 days to gather the number of signatures needed for an initiative.
Okay.
Referendum, you have 30 days to gather the signatures. And the reason you have 30 days is because ordinances that are challenged by initiative, they go in effect 31 days after they're adopted. So you have those 30 days to gather the signatures. If you don't gather them, the ordinance becomes effective. If you are increasing the time of a referendum petition to circulate, then you would be delaying the effective date of an ordinance.
Because while they're collecting signatures, you couldn't implement.
That's right.
But isn't that the way it works now? Once they fire that process, it's delayed until let me say it to you more plainly, because this is an area that I don't have a lot of knowledge about. When we voted on the hotel ordinance and folks took out a ballot initiative to repeal it,
right.
While they were collecting signatures, it couldn't be implemented, even though the date came.
Once they filed their signatures, That suspended the effective date of the ordinance.
Until the count happens.
Until the count. The count is what took the time, not the,
I see, not the
the time
signature
of
gathering
collecting
time.
signatures. So
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of ramifications that we would need to look at if you want to synchronize the amount of time. The 30 days for referendum is there. It's consistent with how it's done in other jurisdictions. Because you
So can we leave the 30 days to repeal?
Mhm. To
Yes, sir, go
provide
ahead,
additional
please.
context,
Yeah.
the state election code also has the same signature requirement for initiatives and referendums, which is what you're seeking to do here.
Yeah.
And a different time frame for initiatives and referendum.
I see.
So that would be consistent with how state law handles it for general law cities.
And if we were to make the time the same, what we would essentially be saying is this council passes something, someone files, it automatically adds 60 days to.
You would even be saying that if you're providing more time for signature gathering for referendums to make it
Got
equal,
it.
you would delay the effective date of all your ordinances for 90 days, 120 days, whatever that number is.
So it sounds like leave the time the same even though we increase the signature amount.
I just wanted to point out the
Got it.
discrepancy.
That seems like, I think that seems like what we're trying to get at. So, what he said. And they're giving me more.
Sorry, I did not really, I don't understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I would love something written on this, if possible. Like, what is it that we're changing, and what is the impact of it? If
So-
possible.
Yeah, so it is, again, do it right rather than do it fast. I'm fine coming back to this Monday if we have something written, but the goal is to even out what it takes to add law and what it takes to take away law, right? Because right now the bar is lower. And so, but there's a problem with dates, the amount of time you have to gather signatures if you're taking something away versus if you're adding something new. So we can come up with, can you have a memo for us on Monday that delineates this? Okay. So I'm fine to take this up on Monday so we can get clear. Yeah, no, thank you. All right.
Okay, and with that, the recommendations in the CLA's report have been disposed of, except for the police recommendations, CRC 54 to 58, which relates to the police department. There is the item related to non-citizen voting, which is one of Mr. Soto Martinez's motions, and the personnel issues as well.
All right, and we've got
And the recreation and parks.
Yeah, and the
issue.
recreation and parks, and then the one we just said about the signature gathering. then
And
we've
rule
got-
number 5.
Yeah. No, but the DWP one. Yeah. Got it, okay. All good, all right, so I think we're set.
Okay.
So I think we need to take a vote, Madam Clerk. That was the perfect expression.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
And just to clarify, this would be a vote on all the amendments that have been proposed today by the committee members on the items that were before them today, as well as a vote on the motions that have been considered on today's agenda, which are items number 2 to 25 or 24.
Well, for clarification, if they're voting on amendments on the CLA report, is the CLA report not going to be continued on Monday?
I believe what we're trying to accomplish here is to approve the items outlined in Table 1, those items as amended by this committee, and unless it was amended by this committee, it would be the recommendation contained in Table 1.
That's right.
With the exception of those that have been continued to Monday.
And there you go, that's it.
Right, and so would that not continue the entire report until Monday?
I believe what committee is wanting to do is to approve those individual items, but the rest of those items that are being continued or for further discussion will be heard on Monday, with the rest of the items already being disposed. And I believe that's the vote that the committee is trying to take right now.
Okay, and so then if we can confirm, there are amendments on CRC 4, CRC 6, CRC 10, CRC 32, CRC 39, CRC 60, I'm not sure if there was one on 61, and then on rule number 5.
There may have also been an amendment on number 7 as well.
I'm sorry, which one?
7?
CRC 7?
Yes, so, Madam Clerk.
Can you confirm, is there an amendment also on Rule 4?
Rule 4, I'm sorry.
Rule number 4 is to, the motion was to move it to the administrative code. So there was an amendment on that, a motion to move that item.
So that is a change. That is a change.
And so just for clarification, Councilmember Lee, was there an amendment for Rule 5?
That is being held till Monday.
Okay. So, so there are amendments then on CRC 4, 6, 10, 39, I'm sorry, 39, and I'm sorry, CRC 7 as well, and on Rule 4. And then, so those are the only ones that I have right now, is that correct?
And CRC 1, there's also an amendment on there as well from the council president.
Just want to be clear. I didn't hear 32. Was there an amendment?
I am not,
For number 32.
Councilmember Lee, were you proposing an amendment on CRC 32?
To remove. Yes, for number 32, there was an amendment to remove the prohibition on the use of campaign funds to pay for violations. Is that correct, Mr. Lee? Yes.
Okay, so now let's go through them one more time. CRC 1, CRC 4, CRC 6, CRC 7, CRC 10, CRC 39, CRC 32, and Rule 4.
And CRC, yeah, CRC 32.
Is CRC 4 amended or continued?
With one exception, Madam Clerk, CD 4 has been continued to Monday.
CRC 4.
CRC 4.
Pending a fiscal impact statement.
Okay, so there will be no vote on the amendment for CRC 4 at this time.
Not at this time until we hear CRC 4 again on Monday. Is that correct, committee members? CRC 4 has to do the Rec and Parks allocation.
Yes, we're expecting to hear the financial impact statement from the CAO.
Okay, so that will be continued until Monday, Madam Clerk.
Okay, and so, so then the only rules where there's an amendment is 4. And I believe 5 as well.
Rule 4.
Just Rule 4, okay.
Just Rule 4. Rule 5 will be continued until Monday.
Okay, so what I have is approval on the amendments to, go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to suggest if we can just take 2 minutes, because I believe that there may be a few more. For example, CRC number 8 has been amended. CRC number 10 has also been amended. So if you can just give us 2 minutes.
2 minute.
Thank you.
No. CRC 24, no.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to call the meeting back to order. I believe that the CLA and the clerk are ready. Before the clerk starts, I just want to go on record. Then I want to change our recommendation on the LAX and the LAWA item to forward that to committee, to the ad hoc, as opposed to alter the language and move it on to the council.
Okay, great.
Other than that, I think we're ready to go. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so based on all of our discussions,
I believe the clerk
oh,
is going to read something into the record.
Okay, so the recommendation from the committee is to approve the CLA report as amended by the committee, including all the changes on Table 1, with the exception of those items that are being continued to the Monday meeting, and to note and file the CRC report.
All right. Without objection, you call the roll?
Councilmember Harris Dawson.
Yes.
Councilmember Rahman.
Yes.
Councilmember Yaroslavsky.
Yes.
Councilmember Lee.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Any further items, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Chair, I don't know if you'd like to take any actions on the motions on the agenda, or if you're going to continue those to the
We'll
Monday meeting
continue
as well.
those to a date to be determined.
Okay.
All right, with that, we are adjourned at 4:51 p.m. Thank